So that right there. Boom. Done. All right, family and friends. I think we're live. I think we're going. Hi, Tracy. Hey, happy day to you and also you. I am going to spotlight myself until we get started because I'm starting the show here. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I am Stars Tina, and I want to welcome you all to Elevate Your Business. This is an event that I've been putting together for about a year. Can I just do a sound check? Tracy, Stephen, can you hear me clearly? Can you see me?
Yes,
yes. And I'm loving the earrings, Tracy. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
I love it. So this is an event that a good friend of mine, Angeline, and myself, we decided to put together because we felt a need to learn more in our business. This is an event for entrepreneurs, and you don't have to be an entrepreneur to gain value from this, because you're going to learn about money, about mindset, all that sort of stuff. So instead of having everything together, I decided to just really narrow down on certain things. And this particular event today is all about your money, changing your mindset in your money. So I said, you know what, Tina, who are the people in your circle that motivate you, that inspire you, that are doing those scary, crazy, hairy things, right? And I thought, and I was like, Stephen, all the people that we have coming through today. And before we actually get into today's event, I just want to share a quick little story with you about change, about growth, about doing those scary things. And today, I don't know about you, but I get inspired when I see and hear other people. Instagram is like my jam. I love Instagram. I don't know if you guys have heard this girl. Her name is Brittany. I've met her a few times. She's pretty amazing. And she was saying, I haven't heard people talk about their goals or their dreams. Right? When it's October, when it's November, it's like, I'm going to do this in January. I'm going to do this. I'm doing that. And then as the year goes on, you kind of stop talking about those things. And when I heard her say that, I was like, yeah, come to think about it, I haven't really said much about what I'm doing or where I'm going and that sort of stuff. So I decided today, along with this Elevate Your Business, I'm going to think a bit bigger. And I want to welcome you, Aisha. Congratulations on your new business. So when I think of this, I want us to just dream a little bit bigger. When I heard her say this, I was like, Tina, tap into your greatness, because I think it's super important that we remember who we are and whose we are, which is God, right? God created us all wonderfully perfect so that we can do amazing things. And I think sometimes we actually forget about that. That's why I love surrounding myself with amazing people. So as we get this party started, I have a couple things I want to announce. I am so excited for my very first Health and Wellness Expo. It's in person. It's in Rahway, New Jersey. It's happening September 22nd. So if you are in the Rahway, New Jersey area, I want to invite you to come. It's absolutely free. It's a Health and Wellness Expo. It's for the children. It's called Traumedy No More. And it's to actually teach children how to tap into their feelings, tap into their emotions, and then how to push through those hard emotions like anxiety, stress, depression. And all I did when I started this program is what I do for adults. Well, let's bring it down for children, right? Could you imagine if as a child, everything you know, okay, maybe not everything, but a lot of the things that you know now, you knew as a child. Now, I know a lot of parents who are professional, insightful, they know what they're doing with their life. Their children are kind of like that already. For example, when I was teaching one class with the children, I was talking about breath work, what type of breath work, the different types you have. And this little girl, she raises her hand. She says, my mom taught me something. And she was in the 6th grade. And she said, she put up her hand and she said, her mom said, go up one side, inhale, exhale, inhale. And I was like, wow, that's pretty phenomenal. I said, where did you learn that? And she said, her mother. So I think it's great when parents do that, but a lot of children don't get that, unfortunately. So that's where that event comes into play that I'm doing in September. I'm also releasing my book that's right here. Hold on. And we're taking it, this right here, Traumedy No More for Kids. If you have kids, if you know anyone with kids, it's an amazing book because, again, like I said, it teaches the children how to tap into their feelings and then just expand them, right? Teaching them I am statements, teaching them all the things they need to grow and learn, and then how to overcome those with games. So how to make slime, which is extra cool, or maybe journaling, all that sort of stuff. So that's a book that's going to be on. And last announcement before we get started. I had such a great morning. Did anyone work out yet today? Anyone work out? Woo! Tracy, get out there with your mother, go work out. She was like, yes, I worked out.
We worked out the other day, day before yesterday.
I love that, just the other day. So this morning I was invited to go out for a walk with a new person, a new friend. I don't, like, how do you call people friends? Like, you just meet them, right? And I was so excited. We were just gonna walk. I had my flip-flops on. So like, I'll put my shoes on in the car. I get there and I didn't have my sneakers. I'm like, oh, I don't have my sneakers. So I legit have flip-flops on. But let me tell you guys, the people that you surround yourself, they're going to expand your mind. This was her first time gathering people together for her walking group, whatever. It's like people from her church. And I thought, Tina, this is what you want to do for yourself and your community. The other day, it did a women's empowerment event. I just thought of it 2 weeks ago, right? And I said, I'm new to the area. How can I do this? We had about 12 or 13 women that showed up. It was phenomenal. My point is, no matter where you are in your life, if you want to grow, if you want to expand, if you want to do bigger and better things, make sure your tribe is amazing. All right, crew, I'm going to bring up, and I'm doing this from my phone, so forgive me, because apparently the computer is too wonky. Can you guys see Stephen and myself on the screen, Tracy? Oh, yay. All right, this is not as planned as it was supposed to be, but that is quite all right. Stephen, I want to begin by saying, first of all, you did an amazing job in Florida at RiseCon. And because of you, that's part of the reason why I actually moved to Tampa. I bet you didn't even know that. When I went to the event, you were amazing, phenomenal. And it was different, right? I never really saw people, I guess maybe because it was Florida, dressed up like that. Oh. I didn't know if I was at the club or at a convention, but it was great. And I've said this before, when I've heard you speak before I actually met you, I thought you were this person that just like spoke just stuff just because, like these huge, big numbers. And I'm like, he's talking things that I can never relate to or other people can never relate to. Because when you think about money, when you think about numbers, people don't really talk as big as you do. And I love how you talk about leveraging. So I would love for you to share a little bit about yourself and what I love best about you. All right, you're up.
All right. Thanks so much. So my name's Stephen Cohn. I'm living in Turkey. I'm an American military veteran who left the United States in 1986 with the U.S. Army and was stationed in Germany. I spent 7 years in the military and a tour in Iraq. After that, I got out and stayed in Germany. I opened up a few businesses. I became a best-selling author, did things like MTV VJ or newscaster or, all these different kind of things that someone does to try to find your way. I had an accountancy. I had cocktail bars. I had a nightclub. And I started getting into building businesses. And so I did that for myself. And all in all, I'm 57 today. I left when I was 19. So I've been away for over 30 years, and I've lived in 10 countries. And I started building these businesses, and people started asking me, "Hey, can you help me, fix mine, build mine, do things with my business?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, okay." And then that was when I started to figure out, like, wait a second, I can get paid for this, right? And it really wasn't a business at the time, consulting or advisory. And then I got into the corporate world as a contractor. So I took over the operations and development for a large corporation listed on the British stock market on London Stock Exchange. And I took their company, which was 87 locations, 3,500 employees in 9 countries. And I took that and expanded it, grew it, scaled it, the whole works. And that sort of gave me a name in different industries because of that. And I took what I learned in there and I started applying it to the small business and medium business sizes, the SMEs, they call them, small, medium enterprises. And I started applying it to that. And then there was people in there that couldn't really afford my services sometimes. So I started striking deals. And these deals ended up being mergers and acquisitions, meaning, for instance, a real simple thing that anyone can do, no matter what service you provide. If you provide a service, let's say marketing, and let's say it's $20,000 a month, right? And you say to me as a client, potential client, "Hey, I can't afford $20K a month." I'm like, "Well, look, okay, well, how much too much is it?" And they tell you, "Well, I'll pay $10K." And I would say, "Okay, pay me $10K. That's fine. But give me some equity in your company, maybe 10%, which isn't worth anything until I generate more revenue than you're generating now 3 months in a row." And they're like, oh, that sounds fair. And I said, if I don't do that in the next 6 months, or maybe it was a year, depending, then you get your equity back and you got your marketing for half price. And they said, yes. That was my first M&A deal, mergers and acquisitions. And then I went from there and I started getting into mergers and acquisitions. And in between all of this, I had 3 cocktail bars and nightclub, ran that large corporation at the same time, wrote a book at the same time. And that showed me, okay, you're a little bit chaotic because the world says you have to do one thing, you have to do it well, you have to focus and all this kind of stuff. And I believed it till that point. So I was struggling, trying to say, well, man, how do I like do all these things? I'm doing them okay, but why is it looking bad to everybody? Why do people say, hey, you're doing too much? And then I realized I'm not that kind of a person. So I was trying to fit into what society and what the rules and the books and all the learnings that you have say, focus, put your nose to the grindstone and hustle and grind. And for me, hustle and grind are 2 words that someone made up just to make you feel better about working way too much. Number 1. Number 2, what are you looking at when you have your nose to the grindstone? You're looking at the grindstone, right? So what don't you see? You don't see coincidence, luck, opportunity, new doors opening, new people, connections, relationships. So I started saying, well, what's the one thing that I do, no matter where I am, whether I'm behind my bar, being a bartender, whether I'm behind, at the front of the club, being a doorman, whether I'm in a corporation running it, what's the one common denominator? And it was people. It was relationships. I knew that in any business that I was in, whether it was a customer or within the team, in order to get the best out of the people, to serve the clients best and become have the best return on investment, it was always about the relationship. And so I started focusing on that. And then I started really focusing on relationships within a network, because people talk about your network is your net worth. Well, your network isn't your net worth. The relationships within your network can be your network. What I say, since I'm a business coach and I work with my clients 3 months at a time, I say my network can be your net worth because of the relationships that I have, right? So when I work with clients, usually they're business owners, SMEs, like I said, small, medium enterprises, and we help scale and grow their companies mostly through the belief factor. And this is what Tina was talking about before when she said, I used to throw numbers around. And the reason I throw numbers around is because I believe it's just a number. Right? And if you believe it's more than a number, you'll probably never get there. If I tell you, you can make $100 million, you're probably like, yeah, I'd be happy with 100,000. Well, then guess what? That's what you're going to make. You're going to be happy with 100,000. You probably won't be happy, but you might reach 100,000. And if I say to you, well, I can show you how to make 100 million, you're like, you're crazy. Right? So you're already blocking your way forward. For me, it's about this. How do I have relationships in my network where I serve them, I show up, add value, and solve problems? How do I do that? Well, I need to know what both parties need. I need to know what everybody in my network needs. And you know what is more important than that? They need to know what I do so that they can even come to me. So I started reaching out and saying, hey, what are you up to? What are you doing? Where are you at? What do you need? I said, they're like, I need X, Y, Z. Oh, I think I know somebody. Let me get in contact with them. I started doing these kind of deals. And so I came up with a formula, which is this. Find the problem of the person you're talking to. Go out, find a solution from somebody else in your network or one of your relationships. And here's the key part. Quantify that solution. Meaning, I go back to the original person and I say, I have a solution. It costs this much. This is how much you're going to make. This is how long it's going to take. And they say, wow, or no, or I definitely want to do it. And the next question is always, how's it going to work? And that's when you say, I'm going to send you an agreement. You send them an agreement, and then you make the introduction. And here's the key part. You don't just walk away because you're not an introducer or an intermediary. You're part of the deal. Because when you introduce them in the agreement, you can earn 4 ways, right? We can talk about that some other time, but you can earn like an upfront fee, a retainer, equity, and a commission out the back end for anything you sell, that they sell over the people that you've introduced. And so I started doing that. And all of this has to do with one thing, and that's the relationships with the people in my network. And so here's what I want to challenge everybody who's watching. Any number that's in your head that's big, put a 0 or 2 more or 3 more zeros on that and get used to hearing that. Get used to saying that. Get used to really listening to yourself and saying, I don't believe I can do 100 million. Well, then you'll never do it. And you might even be sitting there going, Stephen, I don't need 100 million. Well, who the hell needs 100 million? Nobody needs 100 million, right? But I can tell you this, money makes it possible for you to do everything that you've always wanted to do and more. And that's what it's about for me. How do you leverage for positive, because leverage has a negative connotation. How do you leverage the network around you, the relationships within that network, so that everyone wins and you win too? I can give you a few examples. When I came to Turkey 2 years ago, when I met my wife, I said, man, there's 300 days of sun here. 300 days of sun. Amazing. Why are there no solar farms here? Why are there no solar, farms where they have the panels everywhere for acres and acres, and they collect the energy and then they sell it back to the government and to end users? And she said, I don't know. I said, do you know anything about solar? Nope. Do you? Nope. I don't know anything about solar. I said, but let's get someone on the phone we can talk to. Let's talk to the government. Talk to the energy department. Olga has quite the connections here in Turkey. So she said, we're talking to the Minister of Energy next week or the next day or whatever it was. We got on with them and they said, we don't really know how to do it. But if you show us that you can do it, we'll approve it. I was like, man, it can't be that easy. Just ask it, right? But it was. So I went out, I got an offer from a service provider who could build a solar farm in Turkey, got the cost analysis, sent them a PDF. And mind you, I knew nothing about solar energy. Next thing you know, they're signing what they call a power purchase agreement for $120 million. So Olga and I, without any prior knowledge, came to Turkey. She lived here anyway. And within 9 months of that idea, we had a signed power purchase agreement for $120 million, which isn't our money, it's the service provider's money. But our deal is because we brought the service provider, we brought the client, the customer, the person paying, and we helped them get the funding for that as well. So we're connected 3 ways. And so we built ourselves into the deal. And the way we do that is we use leverage in the beginning where they don't meet each other until we have agreements with everybody, right? And even then, you can still get messed around. People can still take advantage of you. It's happening right now on a fuel deal that I'm doing, right? But we're gonna fix it. Because when it gets to those numbers, when you have 6, 7, 8 zeros, 9 or whatever, maybe 8 zeros, it gets funky because people start getting greedy. And you'd be surprised that some people will kill a deal if they don't make 10 million and they're only making 5 million. You can believe it. It's unbelievable for me still to this day. And this is the key factor here. Once you get up into those numbers where you're doing $120 million or $100 million, I'm working on 2 deals right now. They're both north of 200 million, right? Once you start getting to that place, you can't allow yourself to think that you're at that place as far as your attitude goes. Because what happens is people start making money and they start getting arrogant. They start getting, sort of passive, like, I don't need to talk to the small people. I'm the guy that you can walk up to in the street anywhere or at the events or whatever, and I'll talk to you like all day long. It doesn't even matter, right? I'm there to add value and solve problems. That's what I do. So the reason that we're successful is because we don't get big heads. We don't act like somebody special because we're not, right? I'm not somebody special. I just have a knack to understand how to serve people what they need to solve problems to make them happy. And guess what? That makes me happy. And that's what matters. So the main factor here is don't ever believe that you're where you're supposed to be and that you're happy. I'm not saying don't be happy, but I'm saying satisfied. Put it that way, satisfied. Because as soon as you get used to that, the whole infrastructure stops. You got to keep moving a little bit. And recently, in the last 2 years, my circle of influence, circle of friends, whatever you want to call it, you surround yourself with the 5 people you're going to become. That's changing so quick, it's not even funny. And I do it methodically. As soon as I surpass someone in my circle, in the mindset and in the money game, I'm gone. Like it's the next circle. It's the next circle. It's the next circle. It's the next circle. And this really turbocharges growth, right? Some people, of course, you can't compete with, or they're not compatible, or they get jealous because who's this guy showing up like this, like he owns a place or whatever. These are all things that I don't worry about. And I have a saying, I don't give a shit. That's my saying, right? I don't give a shit. I mean, if you don't like me or if someone doesn't like me or if they think I'm this or that or the other, then it's fine. It doesn't matter to me because in the end, no one's coming to save you. Nobody. No one's going to walk up to you and say, hey, here's $100 million. Here's $50 million. Here's $5 million. Here's $5. Hell, that probably doesn't even happen, right? So who are you responsible for? You and your family. And let me ask you this question. All the problems outside of you, all the things that bother you, all the things that are nagging at you, the money problems, all these things, where do you think it comes from? Where do you think it comes from? Comes from your upbringing. I had a horrible childhood. I had a gun in my mouth at 14 from my stepfather, suicide attempts, the whole works. I can blame that, but I don't, right? Where does it come from? Where does all of the problems come from? It comes from you, right? And as soon as you realize that, you take responsibility for you and everything around you in the world, your life changes. I say this, if it's out there, it means it's in here. If I see it out there, if that bothers me, if this gets on my nerves, it's because it's in here. So when I'm square with myself, the world becomes square with me. You understand? So, and to make it even more blunt, all the problems, all the issues, all the challenges that you have in your life, without you, they wouldn't be there. So what are you worried about? Deal with yourself, fix yourself, mindset, belief. Yeah, the 3 factors of belief. I say there's 3 stages. You have belief, faith, and certainty. Belief is it's active. I need to believe that X, Y, and Z. So you take that step. Then you have faith, which is what people in church, they have faith in the Lord, right? But do you really? But do you really have faith? Because if you have faith, why are you praying for the same thing every week or every day? Some people say, I really want this. And want is a powerful word because want is a perpetual state of not having. Because if you want something, it means you don't have it. So you're telling the universe, you're telling the Lord, I want this. Well, okay, then you won't get it. Right? These are all small factors to the point where I'm ever aware of how I'm thinking, the energy around me, who's around me, what am I feeling like, what am I putting out, what am I exuding from myself, where I'm almost in a slow, very low level state of meditation where I'm always aware of what's going on around me as far as my interaction with others and the effect that I have and the influence that I have or don't have, right? And I'm worried about myself. I'm not worried. I'm taking care of myself. I'm watching myself. I'm honing my skills. I'm sharpening my blade. And people might say, well, that's arrogant. There's so many people around you. How happy do you think my family is when I'm happy? How happy do you think my family is when I'm effective? How happy do you think my family is when I'm crushing it and making some dosh, right? Making some good money. You think they're happy? Hell yeah, they're happy. Because here's the fact. If you're not worried about this and that and them and her and he and mom and dad and sister and brother, all that kind of stuff, what they think, what they say, all these kind of things, if you're not worried about that, what are you doing with your mind in that time? Because all those things disappear from your mind. What do you got? You have capacity. You have capacity to do the things that matter in life, that matter to you and the ones you love. Not to, Joey or Jimmy or whoever down the street that gets on your nerves because they're jealous. None of that stuff. It seems to a lot of people that it's selfish or it's self-centered or whatever. And I'm here to beg to differ because it's absolutely the most powerful people on the planet are those who take care of them and theirs first. This is your life. And Joey and John and Billy and Bob, or whoever they are down the street and giving you all kinds of shit and everybody else wishing you, harm, they're not going to save you. They're not going to come and give you anything. If anything, they'll take it from you. All right. So this isn't about vengeance or revenge. Here's 3 things. If you're taking anything away, take this away. 3 things that I live by: receive, decide, let go. Receive what's in front of you. Decide what to do with it, and let everything else go that doesn't serve you. Sometimes you let everything go in that decide factor, and let everything else go that doesn't serve you. And when I mean you, I mean you or your unit. Okay. It is such a key factor in success to number 1, add zeros to what you believe is achievable. Get used to saying that. Number 2, building and honing and nurturing the relationships in your network, not just your network, the relationships in your network, right? And number 3 is to focus on yourself. Make sure you are square. Make sure you are good. That when you get up in the morning, you're taken care of. How many times have you gotten up? I know I've done it 100 times. Got up and like, shit, I need to make some money, man. And that word need, right? I need it. I need it. I want it. I need it. Perpetual state of not having. Changing that mindset, changing the words that you say to yourself. Because let's face it, everyone knows that the brain doesn't know the difference between, or the mind doesn't know the difference between reality and what you think is reality. So you might as well create your own reality by thinking what you want. Right? This all sounds to a lot of people, what's the word, esoteric or hokey or whatever you want to call it. But I'm a 57-year-old man. I've lived in 10 countries. I got an amazing woman that I attracted to myself, and she attracted to herself, me to her, and we're crushing it. And we're doing it with less time, less effort, and a massive, massive outcome. So when you think more means more work, or you think more money means more work, think again. It's called leverage. Find somebody in your network who has an issue, a big one, when it comes to, let's say, for instance, someone you know needs to sell this company, right? They want to sell their company. Go out and find a buyer. Go out and find a buyer. You're like, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, guess what? You know somebody in your network that does. And if they don't know, they know somebody. That's what I mean by leverage. Leverage the knowledge and the relationships that everyone has in your network with the people they have in their network. Because here's the deal. Every person you meet, doesn't matter who it is, where it is, the cashier at the grocery store, the mailman, whoever, doesn't matter. Are there still mailmen? I don't even know. But, they're a door to a whole new reality. How many times have you met one person that changed everything in your life? Well, that can happen every single day. Just don't ignore the people in front of you. Don't walk by the guy holding his hand out. Don't walk by the gal that's sort of looking around lost. Help them out. Give them something. Make them feel good. Elevate them. I would say, people would say, if you're the smartest one in the room, leave the room, right? I would say if you're the smartest one in the room, elevate the room to your level and then leave to the next room, right? Make sure you leave everybody in a better place than when you met them. That's a minute, a second, a minute, an hour, a day, a year, a month, whatever it is. Leave them in a better place than when you met them, and you're on the path to greatness. And look, greatness isn't measured by money. It's measured by this right here. How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? For real. Are you happy with your life? Are you satisfied with the ones around you? Do you truly love the person in front of you? Would you take a bullet for your wife or your husband? Would you for real? I know I would. There's nothing I wouldn't do for Olga. Right? So if you're not at that place, it's time to get there, isn't it? It's time to get there. So add those zeros, start talking about yourself and leveraging your network, making sure that you are in the place that you need to be. All right? Again, receive, decide, let go. You can start right now. Receive what I just said, decide what you want to do with it, which parts you want to work with, and let everything else go that doesn't serve you, because all of it won't serve you. All right? I think I'm on my time, if I'm not mistaken. Tina?
Stephen, you are phenomenal. I'm getting my face back up here. Can we make some noise? Give it up, give it up. Woo, woo, woo,
Thank you.
woo. I'm coming to you.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So that was deep. That was deep. Let me check in the chat to see if you have any questions. Look at Aisha all dressed up. Okay. On mic, if you have a question, I'm getting like all these back channels. And you know how I know that you're good? I don't know if Toyan's able to chat really quick, but I'm looking in the chat and people are saying such amazing things.
Yes, I am able to chat.
I want to show your face if you want to put your camera on. I don't know. Toyan's one of our speakers as well, guys.
I will be joining on camera. I've got children all around me right now. But Stephen, that was tremendous value. Tremendous value. Tina, can I just ask a question to Steve?
Go for it.
Because that was fantastic. Steve, talk about those conversations, where there is leverage. You have the buyer, you have the seller, you know the opportunity that's here. Talk about your conversation with the person who needs whatever service, and then your conversation with the service provider.
Sure thing. Well, first of all, I get to know both. I have a relationship with both, or I have someone who has a relationship with them, and then I get tied into this. So first of all, before I introduce anybody and figure out what do they need, I need to have a relationship. This is what solidifies the honor and, let's say, the integrity in the relationship once it comes to money. So that sort of secures that. It doesn't always, but it should. And then I talk to the person. I don't go and say, hey, what do you need? This is what I got. You just talk to them. Hey, what's going on? This is how you approach it. You approach every conversation by creating space. You show up wholly and fully for that person in front of you with no preconceived notions or cookie cutter solutions, focusing on the only thing that you can control, and that's the intention of adding value by solving problems. You can't control the outcome anyway, so forget about it. If you try to control the outcome, they're going to feel that pressure. It's going to be a little bit of a push, and they're going to pull back. So show up, no expectations, No expectation of a specific outcome. You just want to do some kind of deal. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Finished. That's it. So when you do that, they're like, oh, this dude's easy to talk to. Like, this is great. Like, wow. And then they start opening up. And once they open up, that's where the real issues come, because they may say, my sales team is horrible. I can't make it. Right? I'm not making money because my sales team. And then it turns out later, it isn't the sales team at all. It's them. Right? Or it's their mindset, or it's their thought. So then now you know where you can attack, where you can go in, and you can say, like, okay, this guy or gal perceives that the problem is the sales team. Well, let me help them with that first. Right? Once you gain their trust, then you can start talking about the other stuff that you saw, right? Because I'm sure many of you are coaches here. You might see that they have a mindset issue. You might see that they're cheating on their wife, and that's bringing them down in the business. You might see all these things that these people do that don't think that it affects their life. So you see what I'm doing, right? I'm mixing the business with the private. It's so key, because that's what builds relationships. Otherwise, like I said, it's just a contact, right? It's just part of your network. So I walk away with that problem, that issue, that challenge. Then I go to my network, or the people that I know directly, or myself, and I'll find a solution. I'll quantify it, meaning I'm going to calculate what it's going to cost them and how much they're going to make and in what period of time it's going to take. And I want to write it all down. I'm going to come back and say, look, this is what I got. This is how much it costs. This is how much you're going to make. This is how long it's going to take. This is what your resources need to be, blah, blah, blah. You want to get hooked up. You want to meet these people. And if they say yes, then I go, okay, I'll send you an agreement. And in that agreement, it's one page. It just says, we're doing this. You and I, we're doing this. I'm going to introduce you. You're going to pay this much. This is how much the estimated cost is going to be. This is how much the estimated revenue is going to be. You can't guarantee it anyway. And we agree this and this and this for so and so many years. And as soon as they sign that, I go over, grab this guy who I've already spoken to. I already know what he offers, because I couldn't quantify it without knowing what he offers or she offers. I couldn't quantify it if I didn't know how much it would cost. So I already knew everything about that. And then I bring them together and I run the meeting, because it's my business, right? I run the meeting. All right, guys, here we go. This is so-and-so. He's got this issue. This is so-and-so. He's got the solution. This is what we're going to do. You're going to present your issue. You're going to present your solution. We're going to work out how it's going to be move forward. In my mind, I've already worked it out. This, and this is going to happen. If you're okay with that, we can move forward. If not, we can structure something else. And I don't get me wrong, Toyin. Toyin, is how you say your name? Don't get me wrong, Toyin. I'm not talking about contracts, and I'm not talking about long, structured out bullshit. Look at me, lawyer kind of bullshit. It's not that at all. It's just you and me talking, just like I'm talking right now. That's all it is. That's all it is. Anybody who's in front of you trying to be, the big player or whatever, just walk away. I don't even deal with that shit anymore at all. Right? You want to talk to me? Let's talk like two human beings. Let's work something out. If we can make it happen, awesome. If not, awesome. Right? That's the conversation to have.
What I love about this is I'm actually working on a deal right now that I'm structuring. And that was the feeling that I was getting, where it started off, conversational, and then one person wants to make it uber complex. And I'm like, this isn't worth that to me. So I just love the perspective that you bring to the conversation. Thank you.
Sure. Well, another point is that like I have the same issue with this fuel deal. I said, you know what? I'm out, and I passed it to my partner. I said, look, do whatever you need to do, make it happen. Let's make sure we get paid. I'll take 10% less for you doing the work. And I removed myself from it.
That's right? Great.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you. All right. We got a couple questions here. So I wanted to know, Stephen, what was your very first deal? Because if you have someone like myself and I've never done anything like this,
yeah.
And that's why I told you these huge numbers scare me. You're very, how did you come up with this concept? Your first thing you did? Go.
First thing I did was when I got out of the Army, I wanted to open a cocktail bar. And I didn't have money. I priced everything out. It was about 250,000 D-Mark, which is at the time maybe $180,000. And I was like, I'm a soldier. I'm living in Germany in a one-room apartment. How the heck am I going to do this? And so I said, man, I'm going to convince the brewery, like a big brewery, to give me their beer and loan me the money. And it was like, what are you, nuts? So I literally drew in Microsoft Word back at the time. This is in '96, so there wasn't really I used the squares and the circles and lines and made an aerial view of this cocktail bar was going to open up, and I colored it in with pencil and pen and wrote the pieces, and I wrote a menu and the cocktails that I was going to put on there. And I called the brewery. I said, can I come by? And I did. And they're like, holy shit, this is amazing. We'll give you the money. And they gave me the money. Of course, the money was at a 20% interest rate. I had to buy all my liquor and beer from them for 4 years while I was paying it back at a 10% increase, right? But I said, I don't care. I'm realizing my dream, and I did it, right? And I went, and all these other people trying to open up cocktail bars. Why'd you give him money? How's that even possible? How can you give me the money? They're like, you didn't present a plan. And my plan was literally crayons. You know what I mean? It was literally like crayons colored in and stuff, right? So it doesn't matter about the presentation. It honestly does. It's about what do you got inside of you that they see that's like, man, this guy's real. It doesn't matter what the presentation looks like. It's real. You're the real person, right? Now, we can't fool ourselves. I have to say this. We can't fool ourselves. When I did my first deal for 220 million, it was an infrastructure deal that I was doing with what they call a DAF, a donor advised.
Wait, pause. How much, you guys kind of rolled over that amount. How much was that?
It was 220 million.
$220 million.
Yeah, when I say that I structured that deal, that doesn't mean that I earned $220 million.
Right. I mean, just the fact that you're dealing with that
Yeah.
those numbers are rolling through.
Well, the first time, well, it was an infrastructure deal. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Oh, we're building roads. We're doing da, da, da. It was for an Eastern European country. And then they said, could you come out and meet the king? I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Stephen, the veteran, king, do I salute? I don't know what to do, right? So, you know, I'm out there with my buddy, and we're just two knuckleheads, right? But because we knew what we were doing, and because we had the backing of these investors who were friends, and it was a donor advised fund, which means these funds are specifically for donations, we just went in and had a discussion. And that's how I learned under pressure, under fire. You're speaking with the king, the government, the U.S. ambassador's office had to be there because it was in a foreign country. We were Americans. They were there. And it was just like this. We just showed up. And here's the key. And for everyone listening, stop whatever you're doing. This is the most important thing I'm going to tell you. And I know I already said that, but this is really important.
You know, I got the shirts and stuff.
Okay,
They used to, yeah. So when I picked the stuff off, it came to like $80. So I told him how much it was.
Legit.
And then he was like, okay.
Just mute her. Yeah, there you go. This is very, very important. When I got recruited into the corporate world as a contractor, I was made the director of European director of operations development. And this guy named Mark Minter, he was a CEO. He hired me. I'm like, why, man? Like, I don't know anything about this shit. Like, I don't know anything about corporate world. He's like, no. So he hired me. We're sitting there. We're going through the P&L and the financials, which I had no idea about at all because I was, fresh out of the army. It was 2 years or 3 years after I got out of the army. I was like, you know what? I'm done. I can't deal with this. I'm sweating, I'm like wearing a suit and tie. I hated it. I was like, I'm out of here. And he said, Stephen, shut up. Because here's the key. If I see it in you, it's in you. Just embrace it. And I was like, whoa. And I embraced it and I crushed it. I broke every record they ever had within 2 years. And so from that point on, if I'm sitting in front of a king, if I'm sitting in front of a government official and they see it in me to ask me those questions, you're damn right I know the answers, right? I don't think anymore. I let it come to me. So if you're in front of me and you're asking me questions, I mean, I literally had who was it? I don't think he was the ex-prime minister of Germany and the ex-defense minister sitting at dinner with us, and they started asking me questions about the debt ceiling under Obama and all this kind of stuff. This was back when Obama was in office. And I was thinking to myself, why the hell are they asking me this? And then I remembered Mark Minter. He said, if they see it in you, then just embrace it. So I did. And I answered without even thinking. And the next thing you know, they thought I was CIA because I got everything that I said happened like 2 months later, and that just solidifies the fact that we are in a universe where we can draw information out of the ether. I call it the universe's data bank of knowledge, right? So if you're up here, it's hard to receive. You got to be here. Right? The mind doesn't feel and the heart doesn't think.
Say that
Bring
again
them
a
together.
little slower. That was too quick.
Okay. The mind does not feel. So when you think something and you don't feel it, it's just a thought. So the heart doesn't think. So if you feel something and don't think it, it's just a feeling. The way to create, the way to embrace, the way to move forward powerfully in creating everything around you is to unify. So to make it simply, when you think something, feel it. It happens all the time. When you think, oh my God, I just made $1 million. Oh my God. And you're just excited. That's how you got to feel and think before you have it to create it. Get it? Make sense?
Yes, you're dropping gems. We're over time, but I have one more thing. You shared with me, and I need you to share with everyone else because family, this is so important. When he told me this, I was like, what? Quickly, if you can share the monk story, you pulling yourself away from the world, if you can explain why and how you did that, I would love for you to share.
Which part of the monk story? Because there's a whole bunch.
I don't know, but it was something about you going away. I think you were gonna do something bad, and then you called a
Yeah.
friend. Do you know what I'm
Okay,
talking
yeah. Well, it's back in in 2008. I was in a toxic relationship, driving down the road with this woman, and she starts cussing me out again and called me all kinds of names. And I told her to get out of the car. I stopped the car. She got out, and I hit the gas and went straight forward, going 90 in a 30 zone. And there was police officers that stopped me, a whole bunch of them. It was like a speed trap. And I got out of the car. I was already in tears. I was a big guy, right? That's, snot coming out. I was crying and everything. I was at the end of my rope. I really was. This woman drove me insane. And I let myself be in that place. It was my fault. And I got out of the car, and then she comes walking up after about 10 minutes because it wasn't that far away. And she said, he's a war criminal. He murdered people, put him in jail. I was like, what? And I was already distraught. So I looked down. There was a trainee police officer beside me. And this is in Germany, Berlin, Germany. And I just reached down slowly in slow motion, grabbed her weapon and brought it up to my head. And I was gonna, and my girlfriend at the time was like, do it. So they tackled her, brought her like around the corner. And at the same time, this little girl, young trainee officer, didn't even flinch, took my hand and the weapon and put it back in her holster, turned to me and said, I know you, Stephen, this isn't you. And that was like a billy club to the head, because there's nothing that could have shocked me more than that. And so I calmed down, and they put me in a paddy wagon, and they talked to me. They took my license, they took my car. But I was allowed to go. But I was homeless at the time, besides, unless I was living with my girlfriend, which was on and off anyway. So I was either in my car or at friends' houses or at her house. And so I went back to my apartment, which I was still renting, but subleasing because I couldn't afford it, to another guy. And I said, dude, I need my apartment, please. He's like, well, it's actually mine. I'm like, oh, okay, can I use it for 3 hours? Went in, and in the back of the closet, pulled out my uniform, hung it up, took a picture of myself in uniform, because to that point, the only identity that I really had was a soldier. This is in 2008. I got out in 93. So that whole time before that, I was stuck in this identity of being a soldier, tough guy, veteran, disabled, all this kind of stuff, all this feeling sorry for myself. And I sat there and I pulled out a knife, a big one, a Marine K-bar, they call it, super sharp. You can split a hair 16 times. And I put it to my neck, and I went to go, and someone knocked on my door. And I was like, I can't even kill myself. What a loser. That's how down low I was. So I opened the door with a knife in my hand, like, what? And it was that female police officer again. And again, she took my hand, put the knife down on the counter, walked me into my own living room as if she'd been there before, and said, Stephen, I've read your book, my first book. This isn't you. You're an amazing guy. It's in German. So it's called Served in the Gulf from Soldier to Cynic. And so in German, it's, Soldaten Golfkrieg, if that helps anybody. So she led me in the living room and said, Stephen, look, I read your book. I know who you are. And you're an amazing man. You're going to change the world. And a little bit of chit chat. And then she gave me the old German bussy and kiss on each cheek and walked out. And I stood there and I was like, is that real? Did this just happen? Like, is this real? I didn't even know. But I didn't want to check to see if she was actually out there, because I didn't want it not to be real. But I still wasn't in the safe. So I called my friend Michael, living in Austria. And I said, Michael, if you don't come and get me right now, I won't be here tomorrow. I just know it. I can't make it. I can't do this anymore. So he sent me a plane ticket. I went to the airport. He took me, picked me up from the airport that night and dropped me off in a monastery, Benedictine monks, Christian monastery, who meditate. So Benedictine monks they have meditation rooms, meditation gardens, meditation stools. I mean, it's incredible. I spent about 8 months there in this monastery by myself with 80 monks. When I went in, I was like driven. All right, I have a problem. This is what's wrong with me. I want a solution, like this. And the monks were like, just go in the forest and relax and, take in the nature. I'm like, what, the trees talking or what? It's like, I was looking it's like, I need a solution, like, typical masculine sort of mindset. And by the time I left there, I didn't have to do anything. I just received everything that was around me. And I received so much that it's overwhelming. To this day, I just need to close my eyes and think, and I'm immediately there. I have that peace back. I have that source of energy. I have that source of peace, a source of inspiration. And I use that when I'm in meetings sometimes, just to calm everybody down and bring it down. I use it also to help people get better in life. With my clients, I work with my clients. I'm on Zoom. I was on Zoom 7:30 this morning with a person in the hospital who's wearing pipes and everything like that. And I'm helping them recover through some of the stuff that I do. And I have friends from all over the world that call me up and fly me different places just to help their friends and family get better from either health or mental issues, mental health issues. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, none of that stuff. It's just that I know what drives people, and I know intuitively now, and I can see what's in people. I can feel what it's about. So when I do deals, I know exactly who's sitting across from me. I know exactly where the weaknesses are, but I don't use it against them, right? I will build that weakness up so that they feel stronger and better about the deal instead of look at this. I can cheat this guy, or I can do this, whatever. I don't do that. I do the opposite, right? So all of that came from me going all in everything that I've ever done, including the suicide attempt. You know what I mean? Like I went all in. I mean, like I'm going to do this in a grandiose style. I'm going to do it in public in front of police officers with their own weapons. Like it was like, and then I went all in the monastery. And then after that, I went all in the practice of helping people. And then I went back into the corporate world, the same company that I had left before that Mark Minter was running. And I took this knowledge with me and grew that company to whole new heights, changed the team, changed the structure. They sent me to every single location, 87 locations, to implement what I brought back with me from the monastery and in a business structure. And it changed people's lives. And that's sort of what I do with my clients now. So when people work with me, we learn about all this stuff, man. I'm going to pull out of you what you didn't even know was inside of you. I want to pull out of you that you need. We're going to, like, for instance, we meet, we talk, we decide to work together. Next thing you know, I'm saying, who's in your network? What do they do? Da, da, da. We find a deal, we make a deal, and everybody's making money. I had Rajesh in the UK brought me on 3 months. It took about 6 or 8 months, but it's been a year and a half now. We've worked together. He's made over $2 million just by working with me, just in deals.
I love it. I love it.
No?
Now, you said that you have a program. We're going to end this. You said you have a program or something that people can sign up for. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, it's, right now we have a community that we're setting up. It's a business community for people in the beginning all the way up to, let's say, the Mavericks, if you will, because we work with large companies as well. And we're setting that up right now. Best thing is to write me an email or go on my Instagram, follow me, and write me a message. I got my team, they'll reach out to you and they'll put you on a list. Otherwise, just write me an email, steven@humblealpha.com. And anyone who's interested, of course, working with me directly, you can talk to me because you're on this call right now. You can write me directly about that as well. Otherwise, you just go through my team, they'll vet you and all this kind of stuff. But for you, for you guys, Tina and the team and Tracy and everybody else, I'm gladly take you guys directly. It'd be great.
Yeah. We're going to do a special ebook after this for the event. Steven, that's Toyin, that's Steven. You guys need to connect. Let me tell you, Steven, this woman right here is, she's like, I love her. Thank
Awesome.
you so much for rolling through today, Steven.
All right. My pleasure, everyone. Thank you so much. It's an honor.
Go ahead, Toyin, you were saying something?
I thought you should have gotten paid on that. Steven just told us. You say, okay, Steven, I know someone you gotta meet. Toyin, I know someone you gotta meet. You sign those agreements first, and then you make that intro. Come on now.
Someone's listening. I love it. I love it, Toyin. I love it.
Let me tell you, she has an event. This event is inspired by her, okay? My move to Florida inspired by Steven, this event, because I met her and she talks about money mindset. And I told you, when you talk those big numbers, Steven, I'm like, he's crazy. There's no such thing. When she talked about, so I'm like, Tina, you need this event. So thank you, Rose. All righty, crew. So
everyone.
Transition. Let me pull this out. Remove. I want Mary Lynn to unmic really quick because that's how this all works, right? It's all about connections. Mary Lynn, are you able to unmic and share with everyone who you are? Go for it.
I am. Hi, guys. Mary Lynn. I'm the owner, CEO of Breakfast with Champions. I have a podcast with my son, and I am also Harvard certified in managing happiness. So that is me.
I love it. Mary Lynn, Breakfast with Champions, the morning show. That's how I actually met Steven. Can you tell us a little bit about the show and what people can expect from it in the near future?
Yes, actually, it's founded by Glenn Lundy. Ramon Ray was, took the lead for a while there, and now I've been passed the torch. Our tenets are motivation, education, and inspiration. So we are a positive space. Glenn Lundy actually founded it when there was some disturbances in the world and people were starting to really go at each other, those keyboard warriors, and he wanted to create a space that was safe. We have champions. They come on from all different, arenas, everything from business planning to fitness. And Steven is a champion. Tina's a champion. Tracy's part of our, Toyin's been on, like Angeline. I'm scrolling so many faces here, part of the crew. But the thing I love is that we're making a little bit of a shift. We were doing segments, and having champions come on. And we're still going to have some segments, but you know, as a new leader, sometimes you have to shake and bake and mix things up, and so they don't get stale. And so we're going to be doing panel discussions, segments, and then people will be able to have their own shows also. So trying to offer a platform that fits everybody.
I am so excited. Thank you very much. Guys, make sure you stay tuned. We're going to put in the chat how to get a hold of the Instagram, of the Facebook page and all that wonderful stuff. We're moving forward now to our next guest. We have Tracy coming through, Tracy Oriami. I'm so excited to have her here. She's going to be talking about finances.
If you wait 10 years to start investing, you actually are losing $100 every day for every 10 years that you wait to start saving, which is over $300,000 in retirement savings.
Yay, Tracy! Woo, 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 woo! You're up, Tracy!
Thank you for that, Stars Tina. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here at the Elevate Your Business Summit. I am Tracy Oriami. I'm a financial educator here in Atlanta, GA. And before we get started, I want you to put something in the chat. I have a question for you. What age do you think money habits are formed? What age? I want you to put in the chat. What age do you think money habits are formed? Because I was really surprised when I learned this question that I'm asking you today. What age do you think money habits are formed? I'd love for you to put that in the chat. Okay, let's see what we have here. Before 5 birth, money habits are formed between the ages of 7 and 9 years of age. Very, very startling when I learned that. Children are listening to their parents' conversations, whether they're arguing about money, whether they're talking about financial abundance. This information carries into adulthood, beginning at the ages between age 7 and 9. So Tina, it says host has disabled screen sharing. I'd like to be able to share my screen if I could. Can you hear me, Tina?
Yep, you're good to go, girlfriend. It's ready.
Okay, it's telling me that, okay, there we go. All right, bear with me 1 second here. The question I have for you today is, are you fiscally fit? Not physically fit, but are you fiscally fit? That is the question that I have for you today, because I'm going to be sharing some tips to examine the health of your finances. You know, a lot of us are physically fit, but are we fiscally fit when it comes to our money? You know, we're going into the fall, we're going into the fourth quarter, and this is a good time to do a financial reset. You know, we're during the summertime, a lot of people are traveling, they're taking vacations and spending a lot of money during the summertime. So I feel like the fall is a really, really good time to do a financial reset, to take a look at your finances. Some of us need to do a financial cleanse. We need to figure out where we are, where we stand with our money, because believe it or not, most people don't know what's happening with their money or where their money is going. So the first tip that I have regarding the 8 tips to becoming fiscally fit is review where your savings are invested. You know, when I was working in corporate America, I had no idea about money. When it was time for me to apply for my 401k, there were all these funds to choose from, and I had no idea what funds to choose. I had no idea what I should be selecting. And I thought, I'm not empowered. I don't feel financially literate. So I wanted to start learning about money and how money works and where I should be putting my money. And I decided that I needed to empower myself by learning this valuable information. So tip number 1 is to review where your savings are invested. And you want to get organized. You want to know where you stand. You want to gather all of your financial statements for the past 12 months, your checking accounts, your credit card statements. You want to check all of your financial statements, your retirement accounts. You want to sit down with a financial professional if you don't know. If you were like me and you had a 401k and you didn't know what you were investing in or how your money was performing, that is something that you want to make sure that you know how your money is performing, because this is money that you are going to have to live on later in life. Step number 2 is to create a spending plan. A lot of people call it a budget, but there are people that don't like the B word. So I call it a spending plan. You want to create that spending plan because, again, most people have no idea where their money is going. And you want to list your income and you want to list your expenses. That is very, very important. You have to police your money, because if you don't know where your money is going, it's going to be very, very difficult to stay on track. Who here checks on their money on a daily basis? Because I truly believe you should have a date with your money every single day. You should have a date and check in with your money. Toyin, I see Toyin has her hand up. Toyin checks on her money every single day. That is what we want to do, because it's going to set the tone for your day. If you know where your money is, if you know how things are looking, it's going to set the tone for the day. So know where your money is going by creating that spending plan. Tip number 3, this is where a lot of people get into trouble: tax planning. If you are a business owner, you know, we have to pay those quarterly taxes. You want to make sure that you are taking your taxes out right off the top. You know, as a business owner, we get our money up front, and oftentimes taxes are overlooked. That is something you want to take off the top. And I highly recommend that you have a separate account, a separate bank account for your taxes, to put your tax money away so that you don't get in trouble with Uncle Sam. Now, if you are a W-2 employee, you want to make sure that you're taking out the right amount. You want to make sure you have the correct amount of withholdings. If you have an additional family member, a new family member, or if you have taken on a side job, you want to make sure you're adjusting your W-4 to make sure you're having enough taxes taken out. And guess what? When you get a big refund, guess what that means? It means you overpaid the government. You had too much money taken out. No one wants to give the government a tax-free loan. So make sure you're adjusting your W-4 accordingly. You can check with your HR department at your company to make sure that you're taking out the correct number of withholdings. Very, very, very important. because a lot of our money gets eaten up by two things: inflation and taxes. So we want to make sure that we're planning accordingly for our taxes and withholdings. Tip number 4, make sure you review your life insurance needs. September next month is Life Insurance Awareness Month. So you want to make sure that you're reviewing your insurance needs. Disability insurance. Who here has disability insurance? You're more likely to become disabled than you are to die. So you want to make sure that you have disability insurance in the event that you're unable to work for a period of time, because that is going to replace 60 to 70% of your income. Very, very important to have that disability insurance, because again, you're more likely to have a disability than to die. You want to make sure you're protecting your income. Also, you want to consider life insurance. Does anyone know how to determine how much life insurance you need? A lot of people ask that question. How much life insurance do I need? Well, according to the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, it's recommended that you have 10 times your annual income. So if your income is $50,000 a year, you should consider having $500,000 in life insurance protection. Of course, everyone's situation is different. It's going to depend on whether or not you have a family to support, you have people depending on you. So it's going to depend on a lot of different factors. But as a rule of thumb, it is recommended that you have 10 times your annual income. The majority of Americans are underinsured, but that's just a rule of thumb. Someone mentioned we have critical illness, not sure if it's the same as disability insurance. So critical illness is a different type of insurance. Oftentimes it's what's called a rider, which means it rides on top of your insurance policy. And it does cover you if you have a critical illness or a debilitating illness. So it's not a disability policy per se, but it can serve as, it will pay you an income if you become disabled. Okay, and now my screen wants to freeze up on me. So I will just proceed on to tip number 5. And tip number 5 is to review your goals. Tina talked about that earlier when she first came on. She talked about someone on Instagram who was talking about goals and reviewing your goals. That's actually tip number 5, to review your goal. And I apologize that my screen is freezing on me and it's not letting me move forward with my slides here, but I will continue. Review your goals. What do you want from your money? Do you want to save for a college education for your kids? Do you want to save for a home? Do you want to secure your retirement? What do you want from your money? Every dollar, you want to give your money an assignment. Instead of asking your money where it went, you want to tell your money where to go. You have to police your money. It's very important that you tell your money where to go. Bear with me 1 second here. Okay, it advanced to the next slide. Hallelujah. Again, tip number 5 was to review your goals. It's very important that you have a goal and give each dollar an assignment. Very, very important. Tip number 6 is to figure out your net worth. You want to add up what you own. For example, if you're a homeowner, what is the value of your home? What is the value of your cars and other assets? And then you want to subtract what you owe. Your mortgage debt, if you have a mortgage, your credit card debt, any type of loans that you have, student loans, any liabilities that you have. And you're going to deduct your assets from your liabilities, and that is going to determine your net worth. Many people have a negative net worth, and that's okay as long as you're striving to have a positive net worth. We all want to have a positive net worth. So you want to take your assets and subtract your liabilities to determine your net worth. Very, very important. Now, this next step is really critical. Tip number 7, access your debt level. Do you know that financial stress is the leading cause of child abuse, spousal abuse, and suicide? In this great land of opportunity, more people are experiencing financial frustration instead of financial freedom. And we all know that the pandemic happened. The pandemic taught us that anything can happen at any time, and we have to be prepared. So many Americans are struggling with debt, and it's such a huge burden in their lives. And this is something that a lot of people are struggling with. So access your debt level. You have to know your numbers. Most financial experts recommend that you keep your consumer debt, excluding your mortgage if you have a mortgage, to between 10 to 20% of your take-home pay. 10 to 20%. So what you want to do is add up your monthly non-mortgage debt and divide that by your monthly after-tax income to come up with the percentage of your debt. And then tip number 8, lastly, review your estate plan. Now you might say, I don't have an estate. Well, if you have a bank account, if you have a car, you have an estate. Review your estate plan. And this is making sure that you have a will. And a will is just a love letter to your family, letting your family know what your wishes are. Because believe it or not, a lot of families fall out when a family member passes away because there was no will. And it amazes me at the number of people that don't have a will. Aretha Franklin passed away with no will, and her estate was tied up in court for several years. Prince, when Prince passed away, didn't have a will, and his estate was tied up for many, many years. So many people die without having their financial house in order. So have that will done. It's just a simple love letter to your family, to let your family know what your wishes are. Have a power of attorney. What happens if you can't make financial decisions for yourself, or you can't make medical decisions for yourself? If you become incapacitated and you can't make those decisions, it's very important that you have a power of attorney. Someone that can speak on your behalf if you're not able to.
We love
That
it.
is big.
We love it. Tracy, you are doing phenomenal.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the question is, are you fiscally fit? Just like you go to the doctor every year for your annual wellness visit, your annual checkup, you also need to make sure that you are getting that fiscal checkup. Your doctor examines you once a year. You want to make sure you have a financial checkup, a fiscal checkup. And the fourth quarter is the best time to have that done. We're in the fourth quarter of the year, and it's a great time to make sure you are fiscally fit.
Woo, woo, woo. Thank you so much, Tracy. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to have an ebook at the end So you can connect with each person. Tracy, I'm so grateful that you were able to hop through. I don't know if you're able to stop sharing your screen so we can see your beautiful face.
I am. Thank
Yay.
you.
Make sure you write in chat so you get the contact information. Make some noise. Give it up for Tracy. Woo!
Thank you, Tina.
You are amazing. All right, family and friends, we are moving along. We are moving along. I am so excited. I know we're a little behind schedule, but forgive me. We have this next guest, and I am so excited to have him here. Again, the power of community, the power of connection. Because Mary Lynn invited me to an event that Stephen Kuhn spoke at, and you guys know Stephen was phenomenal. Like, I could still be talking to Stephen right now. I learned so much. But I actually met this person at Stephen's event. And I'm going to attempt to do a full screen share because this is phenomenal. Take out your notebooks and pens if you're driving. This will be on replay, so lucky you, you get to see that. Our next guest is Bruce Cardenas. And, sorry, crew, I know this isn't
Bruce Cardenas built his career on values instilled by his father. That is, lead by example and uphold strong work ethics. From the United States Marine Corps to the LAPD, he went on to open a successful bodyguard business, working with top celebrities. As a former chief communications officer of Quest Nutrition, he helped drive the company to a $1 billion cash in. His journey to the boardrooms of billion-dollar companies is nothing short of remarkable. His pride and ownership attitude, strategies, and ability to help build a premier company culture led him now to be part of a second billion-dollar brand. And his journey has just begun.
Culture is a hard thing to just quantify sometimes. My life is relationship capital, and I always try and make more deposits than withdrawals.
Hey, woo, woo, woo! Make some noise, make some noise. Give it up for the one, the only Bruce Cardenas. Woo! I'm going to share the screen because he is going to attempt to do an amazing 40-minute speech in 20 minutes. So I'm going to put some slides up here. Make sure you write in the chat if you have questions because I am going to give him an opportunity at the end to share, for questions. So Bruce, the slides are going to go. Let's just rock and roll. You may begin.
Thank you, Tina. That was a very kind introduction. I'm really, really grateful to be part of your community. And Tina is also my coach. So let's see how she did, right? We've been working together for a while. And also, I'm going to just say this. Tracy was amazing real quick. I wish I met Tracy when I was 21 years old. I might not have had some of the problems I'm in. But anyway, thanks for being here. I'm going to kind of condense this because, as you get older, you have multiple chapters. So, in third grade, I was hit by a car with my best friend and ended up being in a hospital for months. My leg was broken multiple places, but that caused a sequence of events to occur where I was held back in fifth grade, and I ended up failing almost every test, every grade after that. I averaged C's and D's. And when I was ready to graduate high school, I failed the final test I needed to pass to get out of high school, which caused me to go to summer school. So needless to say, my self-esteem was in the dumps. I really would have been labeled now as probably a challenged kid. The saving grace was my father had this tremendous work ethic, so he taught me early on about making money. We were a very middle-class family, did not have a lot of money. Sadly, my mother was an alcoholic growing up, but my father had this he was a workaholic, but better known as an entrepreneur today. So a lot of takeaways, a lot of lessons growing up in this little middle-class town. And I always had a dream about being a police officer, really had no path to get there, but it was something I envisioned. My uncle was a cop. My sister was married to a police officer. Anyway, I thank God for the local police chief in our little town who basically convinced me to go in the Marine Corps. I went to him one day and said, I really want to join the police department. And he said, listen, you're basically young, dumb, and immature. But if you go in the Marine Corps, I'll hire you the day you get out. Wasn't the answer I was looking for, but it got me out of High Bridge, New Jersey. And I realized there's a big world out there. And the Marine Corps led me to become going in the Marine Corps. I went in a young boy basically and came out a grown man. And I learned about things, work ethic and maintaining equipment and simple things like making your bed, as simple as that sounds. But more importantly, I learned about the core values of the Marine Corps, which are honor, courage, and commitment. And that really became the foundation of my life. I really had no guidance, no leadership for the most part, other than my father just being a good work ethic guy. And I learned the value of those things and kind of laid the foundation for where I am today. For everything I've taken on has involved honor, courage, and commitment. And I will say this, I've developed my own basic business principles, and one of them is actually the first slide that Tina showed, was about bringing value to other people with no expectations in return. I feel all the opportunities have come my way in life because of doing that exact thing, opened up more doors and created more rooms I've been able to get into even later in life just by doing that basic principle. But I will say this, after I got out of the Marine Corps, I was fortunate enough to end up in California, and I did join the LAPD. It was a boyhood dream come true. And I quickly found out when I joined the LAPD that things were not really what I thought they were in life. I was now in a big city. I grew up in a very little town, exposed to a lot of things. And I remember my first training officer, Bob, was a very rough guy. Old Vietnam vet, a little cynical and jaded. Nice to a lot of people, but he was also getting cynical and jaded. And I learned how to pick up things that I did not want to do and things I did want to do. I also learned how to have empathy to other people. And I also learned an important thing about human beings. A lot of people in life are a paycheck away from a crisis. And when I used to encounter LA City is a rough city. There's a lot of bad places, but there's a lot of great places. And when I would encounter people that were down and out or even downright criminals, I would always think about my older brother, Johnny, who had been in and out of jail, mostly for drugs and alcohol, but he had truly a great heart. It kind of sounds contradictory, right? He went to prison for drugs, but he was really a good human being. And that's how I felt. So when I would encounter people in the streets of LA, I'd always think, why is this person in this position? And I always found empathy with people. And that made me to be a better cop, a better human being, a better leader with the community. And I really resonated with people on all levels. It's interesting. Once I got off probation, I was working the field and had no, I was on my own, basically. I learned connecting with the community was one of the most important things you could do. And I never spoke down to people. I spoke on an equal level. And that skill set has carried me through to this day on everything from business to personal. And I was telling Tina the other day that, I used to do push-up contests on the street with guys right out of prison to make a connection. I used to be a big dude, but I always felt the need to connect and find a common ground with people as opposed to always arguing and fighting with people. Anyway, the LAPD was a tremendous learning ground for me. And I'm still, even though I've transitioned out of being a full-time cop, I'm still a reserve with the sheriffs out here, and I do mostly community relations stuff now. While I'm transitioning out of being a police officer, I meet this amazing guy who has a security company. And he gives me the opportunity to work part-time for him at night and on weekends doing protection work. I immediately gravitated toward it because that's what I did in the Marine Corps, protecting people. I became a servant leader, and I didn't really know what that word even meant then, but I knew that's what I was. I was serving the community. I was serving people, and being a bodyguard was truly a servant leader. I ended up, after 6 months, discovering I wanted to own my own business. I wanted to be an entrepreneur like my father was. So I started this protection business, and I ended up all of a sudden taking care of people from Stallone to Arnold to Madonna to 50 Cent. I took care of Mike Tyson for 3 years after he broke up with Don King. I found myself dealing with a lot of people at a high level. And the only thing I could contribute my success to was really the ability to listen to people with the intent to understand and to be able to read a room. I don't think I was any more special than anybody else, but I was a servant leader and I listened to what people's needs were. And to this day, 30 years later, I still have some of those same clients. But I will tell you this, when I mentioned I wish I knew Tracy back then, I had such tremendous financial success for being this literally dumb kid from New Jersey. And I was so grateful for everything I had in my life. I remember the best year in business, I bought my mother a brand new Lincoln Town Car. She used to always like driving big cars. I had to deliver it to her house. That same year, I bought one of my clients a brand new Harley Davidson and had delivered to his house. To me, I was like, if I'm making money, I need to share it with people in my world. And that's really who I am at the heart. So the crazy thing is, as much financial success as I had, I remember clear as day, my bookkeeper, and it's important I say she's a bookkeeper because I had this lovely lady named Tracy, who worked out of her house, and she used to write checks for me. She calls me on a Monday and says, Bruce, your payroll is due Friday. Your payroll is $75,000 and you have 25 in the bank. And I said, I don't understand what that means. How could that be? I'm doing all this business. She goes, well, you have all this outstanding accounts receivable. She gets to the first name on the list, says Fox Studios owes you $50,000. You just did the Super Bowl. I said, oh, say no more. I'm going to call Missy at Fox right now. I get off the phone. I call Missy. I say, Missy, Fox owes me a lot of money. She goes, yeah, I submitted your invoice. I need to pick up a check tomorrow. Bruce, that's not how it works. I've submitted your invoice. And I said, well, I need that check by Friday. I need to make payroll. And the tone in Missy's voice changed from the person I've been working with for years, who I thought loved me, said, Bruce, do not make your problems my problems, and got off the phone and hung up. I realized all of a sudden I was alone. I couldn't go to my parents and ask for money. They thought I was doing quite well. I had no resources. I had no relationships. I had no mastermind class. I knew no one in the financial field. I desperately went to the bank, and the bank said, great, fill out this application. We see you have no credit. Maybe we could give you $10,000, but that's going to take about a week or two. Once again, I need that money today. I went home that night and I got a letter from the pension board, only like an update of financial services, because I had vested myself with the LAPD. So I had 10 years. I said, oh, there's my answer. I went down to the pension board and cashed out my pension with penalties. Whatever I got, it was enough to cover payroll. Side note, if I kept that money in there, I would have been getting $2,500 a month now for the rest of my life when I turned 50. Needless to say, probably one of the worst financial decisions of my life. But my company survived, but the hits kept coming. As I always tell people in business, dark days are going to come. And if it wasn't that, it was a labor issue. I had someone sued me for overtime. Well, the cool thing is I still have that business, not as big as it was. I scaled it down. I've kind of managed it myself now with a couple clients I have. And at 47 years old, I serendipitously meet this amazing woman named Shannon Pennant in the gym. She goes by Quest Creator. My life was already set. I was doing quite well in the business, in the security business. And Shannon and I hit it off, and her husband Ron's working out there. And one day she offers me a couple protein bars. She says, I started this company working in my kitchen, and now we're doing a commercialization at night. We make them in a kitchen at night. I'd love for you to try them. I remember trying the bars, and about a week later, I saw Shannon. And basically, I said the bars were the most amazing things I've ever tried. I used to be big into bodybuilding, and I love the product. And for some reason, I felt compelled, because she was so excited. She seemed so like over the top about these bars. I offered to bring them to a celebrity golf tournament. I remember Mario Lopez was hosting this golf tournament. I was doing the security. So I gave the bars to my friend Cheryl, who was running the show. And I said, you know, my friends have this company. Maybe you could help get product in people's hands. I will remind you of this. There was no social media then. Facebook just started. Got product in hands, got some pictures. I didn't do it, but she took videos and pictures. I remember showing Shannon and Ron in the gym the next week, and they were blown away that I knew these people. And that started my relationship with Quest. I'm in the third quarter of my life at 47, and I start helping them build relationships. Still doing my day job. 9 months into this, Ron says to me, he brings me to lunch and says, God, we don't know you well, Bruce, but we feel like we're stealing from you. You're bringing us all this value.
I'm downstairs, Ma.
What?
Got your coffee on downstairs.
I'll take a coffee. All right. So Ron says, hey, we're stealing from you. You're bringing us all this value. And I literally said, Ron, you're getting me free protein bars. He literally laughed in my face and said, Bruce, you're worth way more than that. Starting Friday, we're going to put you on the payroll. You can do whatever you want with the money. You can give it to charity. I really didn't want the money, but when he started paying me, this work ethic thing kicked in. That thing my father taught me when I was a kid about working hard for your money, because every dollar counted. And I went into overdrive in my mind. I never shared a word about that with them, but I started looking for every opportunity I could to help them grow their brand. Well, after traveling 40 weekends a year, I'm not exaggerating, 40 weekends a year, I traveled to build that company for 4 years straight. I did anything and anything the company needed. And after 5 years, I was named the chief communications officer in this large nutrition company, which is the largest in the country, privately held. And looking back, all I did was bring them value with no expectations in return. And I found myself sitting at the board table with these guys. And as I'm talking, it is important, there's one slide showing up about this wheel, this big circle. I always tell people this, if you ever hear people say, I did this and I built this company, you really need to question them, because everything is a we thing. If I'm speaking and I said I did this, it's really a we thing. The wheel, I always say this, it's like a bicycle wheel, all these spokes, everyone has a responsibility. There's no way. And honestly, even if you're a one-man show, you still have other people that support you. So I always am about the we purpose in life. So anyway, after 6 years of doing all these things, I had no job description. I called myself, I was an intrapreneur inside of their company, not an entrepreneur, but an intrapreneur inside their business. Atkins Nutrition seeks us out and purchases Quest for $1 billion. Crazy, not just $1 billion, but $1 billion cash. It was phenomenal. That was one of the biggest sales in company history, and it was a cash deal. And for those of you, if you ever check it out or Google it, there's only been about 1,100 billion-dollar companies in the world. So we were in a very small class. The interesting thing in this slide, if you could see it, at our height of success, I think we hit $440 million after 5 years. I will remind you of this. As you can see, the next year we took a slide. We think we took a hit of about 20% hit in sales. And the reason is we took our eye off the ball. See, everyone should be obsessed with their customers and not their competition. And what happened is, at the height of our success, we took our eye off the ball and the customers did not become as important. And I say I felt I was still doing my part, but there was a big team and people want to start spending money, marketing dollars in other places. And I will say this, if you have a consumable item, if you have a service or an experience, you need to focus on the customer experience and not the competition. And I say it like this, you could build a brand from $500,000 to $500 million, but you need 1,000 screaming fans. And the formula goes just like this. To have 1,000 screaming fans, first of all, if people like you, they're going to listen, right? No matter what you're selling, what service, what product, if they like you, they are going to listen to you. If they trust you, they're going to buy. But the most important thing is, if you transform their lives, they're going to go to the highest mountaintops and scream your name. And that's exactly what happened at Quest. We started transforming people's lives. People would write us and say, I've got diabetes and I can eat your product. I've got celiac disease and I can eat it. I had gastric bypass surgery and I'm able to digest your bars. My point is, it doesn't matter your industry. Get 1,000 screaming fans behind you and you will build your business, because they will become your voice, your megaphone. And that's what you need to build a business. Well, needless to say, Quest sold. Almost immediately, Ron, the founder of Quest, Shannon's husband, calls a meeting with 8 of us. We all exited. Everyone left. We were no longer part of the company. They kept me on. The public company wanted me to stay on as a voice piece for a year. So I stayed on it, like, to maintain good relationships, if you will. But Ron called a meeting to his old house that he was renting. And he said, I want to start a new company. We've picked a name called Legendary Foods. It's going to be a peanut butter company, basically, because we wanted to start out not competing with Quest, right? It wasn't going to be a protein bar company. And all 8 of us, he goes, I want you to all be part of the team. And he goes, I'm going to ask you one thing. Send me an email on what you need to be compensated at this startup company. I need to remind you, we're working out of my house. We're no longer financially secure. Pretend Quest never happened. We are now a startup company again. We're poor, basically. He's funding everything himself. I left that day and sent him an email and said, Ron, I'm excited to be part of Legendary. Don't worry about compensating me at this time. I'm sure it will come together later on. I want to bring you value. Almost the thing I started out 7 years prior with Quest. I want to bring you value with no expectations. Well, fast forward, Legendary Foods, if you've not heard of us, we're now going to be evaluated at almost $1 billion in about 24 months. And the crazy thing is, I still have the email saved I sent Ron. All the other 8 guys are all gone because I didn't realize at the time they were asking for a lot of money, and he paid them for a while. But they didn't look at the long term. They just said, I need immediate money now. I have families, I have problems. and they're all gone. So needless to say, and if you ever come to California, if you want to visit, seriously hit me up. We have this amazing headquarters, a little compound in Santa Monica. And the only difference between Quest and Legendary is now we're putting about $3 million a year strictly into cancer research. Because what we've concluded as we've all gotten older in our company, either cancer or heart disease is going to affect every single person in the world. So we're putting a lot of money into cancer. We have our own laboratories, we have scientists, we have everything there. So like I said, feel free to come by and visit. I'm going to leave you with this. I don't know where I am on time, but I want to remind you of this. I was 47 years old when I met the founders of Quest Nutrition. I'm sure many of you have found your purpose and why, and maybe some of you are still looking. This one slide actually depicts some pretty amazing people in the world that have done things far beyond the 40s. They discover what their purpose and why was. But I leave you with this. I always think about Shannon making those protein bars by hand in her kitchen. And she had a dream, just like Mrs. Fields has, and all these other people, Famous Amos, all these people that at some point started out with just a recipe, making them in her kitchen. And so I leave this with you. Don't die with your dreams on your deathbed. If you want to start a side hustle, start it. I get it. A lot of my friends are single moms. Like, Bruce, you don't understand. Yes, of course they understand. You work 9 to 5. Start something if you want to start a side hustle, whether it's a cookie company, whether it's an apparel company, whether you want to start doing mortgages on the side, whether you want to start selling life insurance part-time. Shit, I remember my parents used to do Amway when we were kids, door to door. Everyone remembers Amway, I think, right? So my point is this. Everyone has a tale of woe, but all these other people have figured out how to get past those hurdles and start that side hustle. I implore you to do it, whether it's rental properties, but do something, but do not let your dreams die with you. That's all I have. I have some Bruceisms, some rules of my life that have applied to me and have worked. I will tell you this: showing up on time is that's a deal breaker for me. And I live in California, and I always get a text, I'm stuck in traffic. Sorry, I'm running late. All that means is you don't respect someone's time. So that's a non-negotiable for me. If we meet, we do business, you have to show up on time, and you have to bring your best foot forward no matter what. You know, I've always said this, my worst days have still been my best days. When I was going broke and having lawsuits, I was still like, life is amazing. I've got a lot to be grateful for, as all of us do. So if I could be any help to you, I'm sure Tina has my contact information that you could share, but I just love helping people succeed. And I want to thank you for having me here today. I don't know if I went over or not, Tina, but you're not talking to me. You there?
She's coming, Bruce.
Oh.
I'll put your contact info in the chat.
I was talking the whole time. I was muted. I was saying, this is your link to your website and your phone number if you want to talk about your phone number, because you know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I love giving my phone number out. Yeah, I love it. So it's funny, talk about my phone number. Dave Meltzer taught me this, and actually Kim Story, I'm sure maybe some of you know both those guys. And when they speak, they actually give out their phone number. And the interesting thing, very few people ever call me or follow up, because I think they think it's a fake number, but I will offer anyone a couple minutes of my time, because I think my calling in life is to bring other people value. And if I could help someone just get over that hurdle, that's what I'm here for. So that's my thing.
I love it, love it, love it. So any questions pop up, I could, where's the add screen? I'm trying to add myself to the screen. Lord, this is not my thing. It's not my thing. What I was going to say, Bruce, I feel like I could possibly do this with you, for you. Any questions in the chat? Like, I know so much about you.
Yeah.
Forgive me. Oh, maybe if I put my camera on, that'll help.
Okay.
I have a question for Bruce.
Go for it.
Yes.
Bruce, oh my gosh, the Legendary products are the bomb. And I was recently on a road trip. I have been struggling to find a store that would keep them in, they would keep running out of the chips. And then I was on this trip and found the chips, and I bought, those people in that convenience store must have thought I had lost my mind, because I was like buying up all the Legendary chips, but now I'm out again. So how can I find out? Can I get them direct from you guys?
Yeah, you can buy them on the website, but I'll tell you, like Amazon, And what I'm finding, we've actually infiltrated. It's called like the C store. Like I don't know whatever city you live in, but like the Circle K's, the gas stations, the convenience stores. We're saturated in those now, and you'll see us right next to Quest. It's almost a weird thing. Now we're competing with them.
Oh yeah, that's the issue, that they're running out of them as soon as they get them. That's why I was asking if I could buy direct.
Yeah, you can. I mean, actually, I would. Our website's a good idea. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I
Thank
love
you
it.
so much.
And I probably should have asked you this before, Bruce. I know that Bruce does a lot of, I don't know if you call it hosting, like if someone has an event, he'll bring the bars. That's actually how I met him. My I like to eat, and I went to eat it, and he's like, how does it taste? So do you, what do they call it, sponsor or with the bars with the other companies? Because Toyin, you got to meet Toyin. She has an event coming up in October. It's a huge event. So do you do that?
Yeah, all day long. So, I figured out all we do is get product in people's hands. We don't really do anything fancy, but I focus at, hence how I met Tina at was it RiseCon? Yeah, in Tampa. I just bring product to events, and literally that's the form of sponsorship, getting on people's chairs, and it turns into relationships,
Toyin,
Yeah.
you have a question?
Yes, I did. And Bruce, that was an incredible, just transformative story. I love transformation stories. We create transformation stories, but hearing yours was super inspiring. I have a question for you. My question is, in that moment between having not planned the finances, you talked about how you called that woman and she hangs, she's like, don't make your problems my problems, click. And just really being at the bottom, to getting back involved with Quest and then getting into the second startup, Legendary, what helped you from a mindset perspective keep that fire of this can't be the end for me when you were right there in the middle? And you definitely didn't see $1 billion sale ahead of you in the next company or initiative you were going to get involved in.
It's interesting because some of the things Tracy said about finance resonated with me. Money can be a stress factor. It's the only time I've had any level of stress but even when I was kind of stressed out about money, I really would reflect on, and I try to explain this to people because I have friends of mine, I can't find a job. Listen, there's always a job. And I help my friends. I said, my point is this, even when I've been on my lowest financial, I'm like, I know I can make money. I know I could sell something. I know I could build something. So I always encourage people, no matter where it is. You're right. I was down and out. I was like, I'm not going to make payroll. I was more worried about what my guys were going to think, that they weren't going to be able to get paid. But I've had the mindset, and I don't know what it is, maybe because what my father taught me. And listen, we were not even middle class. He was a construction worker, 5 kids. He made us feel like we were okay, but I knew we weren't okay. So even when I was 12 getting a paper out, I knew that money was going to help my family. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I've always had the mindset that it's easy to make money. And no matter, I could be down and out, I will be able to make money to provide for my family in some way, shape, or form.
I love that. I put that in the chat. There's always a way to make money. Money is created, not just, it's not limited. It's not hiding. It's created. And we just got to think differently.
And I will say this because and we have people that, some are a little older in this call. We've all been around, and I literally have young guys say, yeah, but it's not as easy now. Let me tell you right now, it doesn't matter who's in the White House. It's the easiest time in the world to make money because look, I have
the internet.
I have adult friends of mine. My kids are 18 and 19, and they go, oh, my son made $10,000 selling stuff on Amazon. I'm like, what? I would hire a kid. I would pay him. So my point is, it's the easiest time in the world to make money.
It's the easiest time in history.
History to make money.
So
but people are too they get caught up in whatever their world is, and they can't think. Like I tell people, I said this, Shannon was making protein bars in her kitchen. Do you think she ever thought I'm going to be rich? No, but she was passionate about it. I have a friend of mine right now. I've walked her through the process. She now has a cookie. It's a healthy cookie. She's selling them at farmers markets every weekend. And now she finally got in a retail store. And she said to me the other day, she goes, I would have never done this if you didn't tell me I could. I could have done it. So anyway.
Thank you, Toyin. We have another question. Bruce, you got to make sure Toyin's speaking next. And when I say she's fire, like she's
Yeah.
fire. Maya, what's your question? And I will put his contact information up. I know someone was asking for it. Maya, what's your question?
Hey Bruce. This was amazing. We got a last minute message from Toyin about, oh my gosh, this is so fire. And so I jumped on. But I wanted to ask, so I it sounds like there were also a lot of people that were pouring into you as well. And so at what, like, how did you correct for like the fiscal responsibility portion? Like, were you finding mentors, or did somebody, was it another story, somebody just happening to find you, or how did you make that pivot? And then I actually have a slight follow-up question after that.
Yeah, I'll be honest, when I was down and out, when I couldn't figure out how to make payroll, and I was too embarrassed because the circle I lived in, I mean, I'll be honest, I was married at the time and we moved into a very expensive house. It wasn't until I was working, I had a workout partner in the gym, and I said to him one, he had owned a construction company, and I said, Mike, I said, I just squeaked by making payroll. And I finally opened up to him because I was embarrassed. He said, Bruce, you have a bookkeeper, a nice lady working for your house. You get an accounting firm. And he gave me this list. I had a financial advisor. I had a credit line with the bank. But he walked me through all this. And it was really my best friend, my workout partner, because I always encourage people now, like all these masterminds, all these groups, all these things you can meet on a Saturday with all these cool people, and it's everywhere now in the country. I didn't have any of that. I wish they were there then, because I could have called anyone in my group and said, hey, Tina, I know your friend's a financial advisor. I need to make payroll. What can I do? So my point is, I love belonging to these groups now, but I finally leaned into someone I worked out with and said, hey, I might not make it here. What do I need to do to survive this business? So yeah. I wouldn't say I had mentors. I just had to finally ask for help.
Great. And then my follow-up question to that was, are you finding yourself positioning yourself as a mentor, as somebody, like, how are you making that connection with like younger people, or just somebody who's like maybe not as advanced in business as you are?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why, and it just maybe, I think honestly it's my father. My father grew up, and his mom used to bring in kids that were homeless, and he'd always help people, and he was our Boy Scout leader. My point is this: he always gave back, and I feel it's my obligation to give back. So to me, if anyone needs help, I want to offer it. Listen, I have a business and I help consult people on a higher level, but to me, if I could just help someone get over that hurdle, I think I owe it. This is me. I can't speak for anyone else in the world, but I think we should all be helping people. But that's what I love doing. I like helping people figure it out.
Thank you.
Because I wish I had people helping me when I was younger.
Most definitely. Thank you. I appreciate that answer.
All right, I'm going to show your slide one more time, Bruce, because some people were asking if they could see it again. This is Bruce Cardenas, amazing. His information is here. Again, we will be sending out an email with an ebook with all the information. Bruce, that was phenomenal. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have an awesome day. And make sure you listen to Toyin.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All righty. All right, family and friends. We are rocking, we are rolling. Put your seatbelts on. That's all I can say. Put your flipping seatbelts on. When I met this woman, first of all, she does so many things. She's also a singer. She does amazing things. I met her. It's about connections, right? It's about collaboration. One of the groups that I'm in, Traffic Sales and Profit, they had an event. Wasn't a summit, it was a conference. And Toyin was one of the speakers. And when she came out on stage, I could just feel her energy. I don't know if you guys feel her energy right now, but it's all about money mindset. And some people struggle with it. I know I did in the past. So I am so grateful, so honored to have this woman coming. She has an event coming in October. I will be there in Atlanta, Georgia. So let's get going with this beautiful sizzle reel.
For some of you, you're gonna feel the temptation to step into spectatorship. People who come with a spectatorship mindset, they're so busy seeing that they're not experiencing.
How many of you guys, when you started your career, ever thought this thought? If I was only earning more, I would be able to take more vacations. I would invest my money. I would be a millionaire. I would all the things. If I was only earning more, we gotta know what to do with that more. And if we don't know what to do with that more that we started to earn, guess what it does? It does the same thing the old amount was doing. It comes in, it goes out, and it's done. Help your brain help you. So what you want to do in this time is intentionally step in to a state of joy. $1 million mindset. You receive what you believe, not what you want.
Oh, come on now.
Woo, 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 woo! Give it up, give it up, give it up! Woo, woo!
Let's go, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I am so honored to be here. Like Tina mentioned, she is incredible. Can we all just give some flowers to the woman, the connector who put this whole thing together? Stars Tina. Thank you, Tina. I just have to say, before I even get into anything, today has been value. Guys, if you've received any type of value from the conversation so far, I want you to put value in the chat, okay? Today has been value. I was on here. I'm like, okay, I'm speaking. Let's go. You know, it's the morning. I got children around, but I was like, I want to be there. I want to hear what the others have to say. Listen. The moment the first speaker started, Stephen went, and then Tracy went, and then Bruce went. I'm out here messaging my clients, going, guys, this event I'm speaking at is no joke. This place is value. So what did I do? I was like, jump in here. I think 7 of our people jumped in immediately because they know that when I'm telling them, guys, this is value, I'm not joking. I'm not playing. So Tina, thank you. Thank you for having me keynote such an incredible event. I am excited. Can we get into it? All right, so I'm going to introduce myself, everybody. First of all, I'm going to share screen because I prepared slides for you guys, really pretty slides, and I want to make sure that you see them. So I'm going to share my screen, and hold up. I need permission to share.
I'm looking for you, girlfriend. Sorry, I didn't know.
Oh, you're fine. I know. I should probably have thought of that earlier. Renee was out here like, is there anything you need? No, I'm good. Let me try it again. There we go. Boom. All right. So today we're going to be talking about, here we are, money mindset shift. Now, before we get into it, there's one thing that I want to say to y'all so that you get the most out of today's conversation, guys. We coach on helping people make money. You're going to hear a lot about the transformation that we have been honored to walk with many others, thousands and thousands of others through. But here's the hack. Here's the thing. I'm not your regular financial coach. I'm not your regular business coach. We deal with the neuroscience of your money habits. So, because we deal with neuroscience, what's happening in your brain and how that relates to your money, even in this workshop, it's important to me that your brain does not just listen and go home. Well, you're probably at home, but just listen and get off this call and do the same things you were doing before. How many of you guys know you did not come here to hear good words, to feel excited, to go back and just keep doing the same things you were doing before you got on here? Anyone else like me? If I'm going to attend something, you guys probably noticed during this event, every single speaker, I was like, okay, what am I learning? I'm typing in the chat. I'm making sure that I am actually engaging my brain with what is being said so that it makes a difference even for me. So here's my hack. I'm going to give you guys a bunch of brain hacks as we go through this information. So here's hack number 1. Someone put in the chat, hack number 1. Hack number 1. Is you are going to engage with what I am saying. And the way that you engage is it's super simple. All you're going to do is whenever you hear something that you go, I need that. I want to understand that better. I want to really live that. I've heard it. You may have even heard it before. Okay? You may have heard it before and you're like, yeah, I've heard it before. But the question you want to ask yourself is, am I living it? Am I experiencing it? Because if I'm not living it, hearing it is not enough. So when you hear that thing, what are you going to do? You're going to type it in the chat in your own words. You guys would notice when Tracy was talking about the finances and checking on your account every day, I'm in the chat. Whatever it is that I want to re-anchor in my brain, I will state it, I will write it, I will type it, I will engage. Can we all promise to engage in the chat? Yes? Yes and yes. All right, so that's hack number 1. Now let's get into it. Today, I want to talk to you guys how you can shift your limiting beliefs about money so that you can earn more, keep more, and multiply your wealth, and how to do it without compromising the things that matter the most to you. So things like your rest, time with your family, putting yourself and how to do it without putting yourself on such a strict budget that you can't even enjoy the life that you're trying to build. All right, so let me tell you about who I am. My name is Toyin Crandall. I'm a 2-time best-selling author, certified neuroscience and high performance success coach, and an international speaker. My specialty is in helping business owners, career professionals see, identify, and break their limiting beliefs about money in order to scale their income and their revenue without sacrificing their value. So if you are in the room and you run a service-based business, an online business, a product business, or you are a career professional, if you're expert at what you do, y'all, but the money math is not mathing, you understand what I mean? The revenue has hit a plateau or it's declining. You see the feast and famine cycle. So a lot of money comes in and then it's gone. And then there's nothing for a period of time. And then a lot more comes in again. If you get shocked, right, when you file your taxes and you see a certain amount of money on paper, but you check your accounts and you're like, no, that cannot be the amount of money I earned that year, then you want to pay attention to today's conversation. In today's conversation, my goal, Nigeria in the building, y'all better believe that, okay? So my goal from today's conversation is that you are going to uncover your top 3 limiting beliefs about money. Are you guys cool with it? Are you down with it? If you're down, say I'm down in the chat. Okay, your top 3 limiting beliefs about money that hinder your business, and 4 specific things that you can do to shift it today. Today, y'all, today. Let's go. So let me just introduce myself so you know how this came to be. If you met me December 2016, I was completely broke, living in a tiny little basement apartment. Can y'all see this? You see do you guys see my mouse? Okay, just to show you how tiny my basement apartment was, okay? You see this right here? Okay, did someone say they could see my mouse? I just want to make sure you guys can actually see it. Okay, yes, Destiny said yes. So you see this wall over here and this right here? That was our living room. It had just about enough space for a mirror to make it look and feel better, bigger, and a bookshelf. And so we're living in this tiny basement apartment. I was super happy. I didn't care about money. I thought money did not matter. We were living the life of our dreams, I felt. And I definitely, because I didn't care about money, I didn't know how to earn it or keep it. Money didn't care about me either. In this apartment, we had like a bedroom, a kitchen, the hallway was the living room, and the bedroom was the dining area. Okay. And here's what happened. One day, my husband comes to me. Hold up. Okay, let me not let you guys go ahead of me. One day, my husband comes to me to bring food in the bedroom, and I'm eating the food. We have our little baby girl. She was about 6 months old at that time, and I'm nursing her. And I say to him, hey, babe, where are you? Because we eat together. I mean, it's just the 3 of us in this tiny space. And he goes, oh, I'm eating in the kitchen. And I was like, why are you eating in the kitchen? Like, there's no table, there's no chair. Come over to the room. So he comes into the bedroom, and I go, what are you eating? And he says, chocolates. And I'm thinking like, ha ha ha, because my husband has a sweet tooth. So I was like, oh, ha ha, what are you really eating? This is dinner time. And he says, Toyin, chocolates. That's what I had for dinner. We've run out of food. And I've been eating chocolates this entire week so that I could give you the rest of our food because you're feeding the baby, and I need to make sure that both of you guys are fed. And that for me was the moment that I realized that money even matters. I think it was Bruce that just mentioned how, like, I wish I heard this stuff 20 years ago. Like, literally, that was the moment that I was like, whoa, what don't I know about money? That was the moment that I realized that as happy as we were, as joy-filled as we were, as peaceful as we were, you can't buy groceries with your joy. You want to have both. And I'm grateful to God that I still have my joy and my peace, and all those things, but you can't buy groceries with it. You can't pay mortgages with it. You can't invest with just what's in your slide. So what do? I invest in myself. And I decide that, okay, let's go. I'm going to build. We're going to do something different here. And I start to take my business seriously. And by February 2017, I had my first ever $7,000 month. Now, I was like, we will never be poor again. Like, I was so excited. I was like, once you know how to make money, like, I think it was Bruce that just said, there's always a way to make money. There's always a way to make money. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have cracked the code. I now know how to make money. Except that by October 27, because what would happen is when the $7,000 came, nothing came in the next month, nothing came in the next month until we were back in struggle. And I'm doing the same amount of work. Once the money was finished, then I had another $5,000 month. And then nothing came in and nothing came in. And by the time we got to October of the same year that I had a 7K month and a 5K month, we had moved 7 times in 7 months. We ran out of money again. We were squatting with family members for months. In fact, myself and my children and my husband just this last month drove about 3 hours to show them well, that wasn't why we went there. We went there to visit folks. But I remember we drove to this apartment building where we used to live, the whole family in one bedroom, just to remember where we came from. Now, here's the thing. I had the strategy. I worked hard nonstop. I'm Nigerian. So, like, if there's one thing about Nigerians that you can know is that we are not afraid to work hard. We're not afraid to put in the work. So I knew that all year long I had been putting in the work. And what I didn't understand was the real problem. And the real problem that I had was that I had not learned how to master my money mindset. So what did that look like? It looked like, even though I was working to take care of my family, to run my business, one of the things that happened in the month of October 2017 was I just happened to have a conversation. I was doing a leadership assessment. It was like 200 questions, and I'm going to stop the screen share and I'm going to just talk to y'all. Can we just talk? Let's just talk, okay? Because I'm not a slides person. So when I'm looking at slides, I start getting into the slides, and I want to see you guys' faces. All right. So October 2017 was a very confusing month for me. I was like, what's going on? We've made money. We're back in struggle. I had to send an email to friends and family saying, hey, can you help us with rent this month? And that month, I do this leadership assessment, and this man is like, he's done leadership assessments for like Fortune 500 CEOs. It was a program I was doing, and he calls me and he's like, Toyin, I want to give you feedback on your assessment. I said, all right, cool, let's go. And he's talking to me, and he kept saying, like, you have a very unique personality. And I was like, okay, thank you. But he kept saying it, and the thought that I had, guys, if someone tells you have a very unique personality, but they're a personality assessment person, what do you think? Someone put it in the chat. Let me see if y'all are following me. First thought, you're gonna have a unique personality. Everybody in the world has a unique personality. Like, there's no two same people. So I wasn't really taking him seriously. And I think he could tell. Exactly. Y'all putting it in the chat. Weird, different, not good. Like, huh? So I think he could tell that I was kind of like, okay. And he goes, Toyin, she literally put it in the chat like, okay. So he says to me, Toyin, I don't think you understand. And then he says a sentence that completely changed my life. And he said it so calmly and all together. He goes, Toyin, you likely have you have a personality based on your EI, UP, EQ, whatever. Your personality could potentially have global impact. However, you likely never will because of two things. Hold up. So if someone tells you you can have worldwide impact, but for two reasons, you likely will never do it. What is the first question out of your mouth, guys? Tell me in the chat. Thank you, Destiny. What are those two things? That was my exact response immediately. Tell me the two things. And he said, well, the first thing is you're very highly service oriented. And I was very proud of that. Like I was the assistant director for 27 shelters for men coming out of addiction. I worked at a women's shelter for 9 years. Like I worked with the homeless. I'm very service oriented. And he says, you've probably done some social work. I said, absolutely, I've done social work. He said, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. He said, the only problem is you are also demotivated by money. Huh? So I'd never heard that in my life, demotivated by money. I as soon as he said that, in the same moment, I remember God just started to speak to me in that moment. And God literally says, Toyin, you're not just demotivated by money. I don't know if you guys have ever been in those situations where like you're talking to somebody, but God's talking to you. So you're having like two conversations at the exact same time, okay? Woo! He said, you're not just demotivated by money, you're afraid of money. And in that moment, he starts to show me specific moments where that fear of money kept me sabotaged. For example, 2 different points in my business up to that point, we started blowing up. And as soon as we started blowing up, I would go on a 3-day prayer retreat. And I would come back to my team and I would tell my team, you know what God just told me when I went for my prayer retreat? God just told me that we need to shut that thing down. And God, in this moment in October 2017, says to me, Toyin, you thought that it was the Holy Spirit telling you to shut down that part of your business, but really it was your fear of money. It was the spirit of fear. Woo! Ah! Oh my gosh, guys. And he starts to show me times where I wouldn't follow up on invoices with my clients because I was afraid to talk about the money. He showed me times where I would know that I'm being overcharged and I would just go ahead and pay because I was afraid to what? Talk about money. Thank you so much. Someone just put in the chat, me being afraid of sales calls because of what? Afraid of the money. And so in that moment, I realized, and this is what God showed me in that moment. He says to me, Toyin, so I'm going to be honest with you. Can I be vulnerable with you guys and tell you guys some like heart stuff? Okay. So I knew why I was afraid of money. I knew it. Nobody needed to tell me that. I had like 60 things, but I didn't know the 60. I knew the top one. So my top fear about money was that if I had more than enough, if I had more than the struggle level, that my faith would somehow be impacted. And now I'm a God girl. Like I love Jesus. That's my top value above everything else. And the fear was, if I start to have more money, what if this money pulls me away from God, my top value? So what happened? God said to me, Toyin, I called you into business. And when I called you into business, what are you supposed to do when you run a business? Somebody tell me, what is the point of business? You're going to serve people. You're going to help others. But can someone tell me in the chat what you're supposed to do in a business that is different from a charity? Thank you. Oh, you guys are getting it. They put it in the chat. Make money, make money, make money. The purpose of the business, a healthy business, is a profitable business. And he goes, I called you into business, but you are not running the business at a level of excellence because you are afraid of money. So he goes, you've put your fear of money above what I told you to do. So because you were afraid of putting money above God, you have now put money above God because you put the very thing you're afraid of over what I told you to do. So now I'm sitting there flabbergasted, shocked, didn't know what to say, didn't know what to do. I'm like, what? And he goes, so you put money over me because you're afraid of it. So what did I do? I finished the conversation with this man. Woo! That's right. She put it in the chat. The purpose of a healthy business is to make money. So I hang up the phone with this guy that now I'm like, you don't even know the impact you just had in my life. And I get mad, like I'm angry. I'm sitting in my car. I remember that moment. I was actually parked in front of a parking lot downtown Toronto. And I was waiting outside because I knew if I would go inside, the line would have cut because there was no service. And I remember just sitting in that car in front of that parking lot thinking, if money has shown me this much trouble, has shown me pepe, if money has caused me to not obey God, well, guess what? I'm going to show money that it ain't got nothing on me. So what am I going to do? I decided I'm going to be a millionaire in a year. Now, I didn't become a millionaire in 1 year, but I did become a millionaire in 3 years. And so I'm going to share screen and just show you. And then I'm going to now get into the stuff that I want to share with you guys about how to elevate your business. Because that's what I want to talk to you guys about, is how to elevate your business. But this is important for you to understand what is happening. Okay. So here's what happened. Here we go. General self-development is not the same as addressing your limiting beliefs about money. So what happened? I make this decision that I'm going to become a millionaire. And now years later, today, I have been able to help clients like Rebecca go from the feast and famine cycle to, from the feast and famine cycle to her first $62,000 weekend. Now, here's what was crazy about it. I think someone is off mute. There we go. So her first $1 million year. Now, one thing that was really cool about Rebecca was that when she came to us, she was running a massage therapy business and a massage therapy coaching business. Now, she came to me in April of 2020. Can anyone tell me what was happening in April of 2020? Somebody tell me in the chat. April of 2020, thank you very much, okay, was COVID, okay? And that was the pandemic. And now she was in the what industry? Let me see if y'all are paying attention. I love this because in the chat, you're paying attention. What was her industry? Massage therapy. One-on-one physical contact. And guess what was one of the top things that was being shut down in that moment? Massage therapy immediately. So she came to me and she said, Toyin, money is flying out the window right now. I have no idea what I'm going to do. My entire industry is being shut down. What do I do? Guys, we taught her, we coached her how to think different, how to pivot, how to get her brain out of fight or flight, how to begin to think with opportunity mindset. Do you know that 2 weeks after stepping into our room, this woman had her first $62,000 weekend? She had never done that much in her business, period, much less when the industry was shutting down. Why? Because she decided to learn how to shift her money mindset and how to apply different business strategy. She messaged right here. We contracted $305,000 last month. She goes, I'm at Toyin level. You're my hero. Let's do this. And she was on vacation when she did that. Now let's keep going. We've been able to help Sharif and Beth hit their highest cash collected day ever in business. Now I run a multi-million-dollar company annually. I'm a consistent top earner in business communities. We are 11 streams of income personally as a family. You guys have to remember, I didn't start here. 2017, 2018, we did not have money for where to live. And now we've got these 11 streams of income, multiple real estate properties that cash flow 6 figures a year, time freedom to be with the people that I love, doing what I love, traveling all over the world, being able to give multiple 6 figures in donations. Not just that, but to give our time. I literally took 6 months off, 11 months off, and then another 6 months off to go volunteer in the community while the business was running because of what money allowed us to do. The impact that we've been able to have to train over 50,000 people to 6 to 8 figure business owners with multiple business models from every sector, scaling their business by their income by tens of millions of dollars in months instead of years, traveling all over the world, sharing 10X stories. And I want to say this isn't just because I know that, over the years, we've heard a lot of people talk a lot of big game, like about things that they accomplished in 2020 when money was flooding the market, right? So there's the pandemic happened and there was a lot of money that flooded the market and everybody did big in that year. And so all their stories are 2020. But I want to tell you that we are continuing to 10X right now. An event that we did January of 2023 took us from millions of dollars a year, where we had 1,400 people registered, 1,000, because people always say, Toyin, what are the numbers? Give us the numbers. 1,200 people attended, 17,980 in upsells, 8,000 in deposits, and we ended up selling 1.2 million in 1.5 weeks, 1.5 weeks. We're the verified 74th fastest growing company in Canada. And right now, I want to say this, it's your turn. It is your turn to be able to identify your limiting beliefs and what you need to do to shift your business, your finances, and your life forward. So there's 2 things that we could do. What I'm going to do is I want to talk to you guys about how to scale your business. Like I will give you guys here, let's do it this way, because there's 2 things I want to talk about, but I may not be able to do both because they're both very full. So I'm going to give you guys a free gift. That gift will help you do the first thing. And then I can use this time with you to train you on what I don't have recorded anywhere. Is that okay? Is that fine with y'all? I give you a video training that goes into that. And then we use the time live for me to tell you what I don't have in a video already. Okay. Renee will put it in the chat. There you go. It's the video itself is going to show you how to identify your limiting beliefs about money. And so once you identify your limiting beliefs about money, then you're able to shift that. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about, because this is the Elevate Your Business Summit. And so I want to talk to you guys about some practical strategies to elevate your business. Can we talk about that? I want to talk. We've heard some gems today. We heard about business deals that are happening that are 100 grew and was now valued for $1 billion cash. Can I tell you guys that did not just happen because they had a good mindset? That also happened because they knew the strategy to implement to scale the business so that it had the valuation that someone else could go, I want to put $1 billion down on that. Are y'all following me? Talk to me. Let's go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what you need to do if you want to scale your business by millions of dollars. And so there are 4 elements that you need in order to scale your business. The first thing, there's 4 areas where we call them bottlenecks. This is actually what I do in the process that we run where we help business owners scale to millions of dollars. So we do a business audit and we assess the 4 areas of their business. The first area is your marketing. Can somebody say marketing in the chat? Now, in 2015, before I was in business, I was in the not-for-profit space. And I remember we did an event and it was a tremendous event. Like we pulled in all sorts of art. It was before we had multimedia events. We were doing this multimedia event where you would walk in. We transformed a industrial complex into like an art gallery, dance, step, spoken word venue. So you walked in and the building itself was an was art. Then you walked into the center. They were like, it was like a maze setup. You go to the center and we had a show put together. And in this show, we had spoken word, we had dance, we had singing, like just all sorts of art, like everywhere around you. And I remember at the end of the event, the photographer came over to me and he said, Toyin, I have never experienced, wow, guys, I just had a mind blown moment just now. Whoa. So Tina mentioned that we're hosting an event in October. And wow, I just realized that that's the same thing that people told us whenever we do these events, like our Millions Retreat event. People always say, Toyin, I've never experienced an event like this before. That's wild, because even in the not-for-profit, it was the same thing. So this photographer came up to me and he said, Toyin, I've never experienced anything like this before. Today was incredible. And I'm like, thank you. You know, this is great. Yes, we worked really hard for it. And he goes, I just have one question. Why are there only 50 people in the room? He's like, there should be, it was free, y'all. It was free. It was a free event. He goes, there should be like hundreds of people. I can't believe you did all this and you only brought 50. And I remember saying to him, well, it's because I don't really know marketing. So just so you guys know, like today, we've made millions of dollars on social media. We've helped our clients make millions of dollars through social media. But in 2015, I did not even understand Instagram. I did not understand Facebook. And so I was telling him, I'm like, you know, we've been praying for a marketing person to come and to move the message forward. And I remember back then, this man said to me, Toyin, can I please just do like one session with you and your team and explain what Instagram is so you can get stuff out there? You get this? Come on. Exactly. Ooh. Okay, Maya just put in the chat. She said, don't be fooled, y'all. What Toyin said about you need both is true. Strategy and mindset are two wings of the same plane. Which wing do you want to the left? Which one do you want to the right? If you want to use this strategy part, you better study the video after the event that focuses on the mindset. Because guess what? All the stuff I'm about to tell y'all, if you have limiting beliefs about money, I think it was Steven at the beginning of the session. He said, so many people just can't think bigger. He said, whatever number you're thinking, add some zeros to it. Let me not even get into that because I want to give y'all the strategy at least today. Okay. So I decided that I was going to learn marketing. So the first stage you need to understand and see whether your business is having a bottleneck is, do you have the people knocking on your door? What is market? How do I know if there is a problem in my marketing? If you don't have people who are coming to you and saying, hey, I want what you have, there's a marketing problem. If people are not sliding into your DMs, if people are not sending you an email, if there's no way for you to actually capture their data, if people are not visiting your website, then your first challenge, your first bottleneck is what? It's marketing. It's getting the word out there. We call it client attraction. And so that's the first stage. Can we go to the second one? And then we'll come back through and maybe what we'll do is we'll do some question and answer as well. Okay. Second stage that you need to assess in order to know whether or not where the bottleneck is in your business so you can scale. The second stage is your client conversion. Can someone put in the chat client conversion? This is your sales. Can I say this to you? There's different levels of business, but if your business is doing from zero, you just got started, you got an idea, you have a logo, right? All the way to about $1 million. The focus areas are different at each level. But if your level currently is between 0 to 1 million, then client conversion, sales, this is your primary job as a CEO. It doesn't mean you need to do it yourself, but it needs to be your top focus. Why? Because a business is not a business if you are not generating cash collected. Are y'all understanding me? Okay. Cash collected is your lifeblood for the business. Yes, you're going to do a lot of things. Yes, you're going to pour out. Yes, you're going to da da da. But if your business does not have cash flow, your business does not have lifeblood to keep moving forward. It is in the ICU. And I've seen so many people, guys, can I be honest with you? Because I don't play. Like I tell it straight, okay? I see so many people in the online space that get so distracted. Come on, Carla. I love that she's taking notes. That gets so distracted with, oh, I want to make sure that the logo looks pretty. Oh, I want to make sure that the website is this, that is that. And they are not paying attention to, am I doing the behavior, taking the actions to bring in clients to my business right now? Can I say this as well? If you believe that sales is icky, you can't have $1 million business. If you believe that, oh my gosh, I don't know, I don't want to be, because here's the truth. Can I help y'all? If anyone has a belief about sales being icky, can I help you out right now? All right, do I have permission? Okay, I'm going to jump right in. Let's go. What you need to understand is the value that you are providing. Because here's the truth. People need what you have to offer. I'll say that again. People are desperate. They need, come on, Muba she's one of our clients in our Millionaire Mastermind. She's one of the people I messaged and I was like, you need to get in this room. She just messaged me literally when I messaged her saying you need to get in this room. And she said, Toyin, I just want to celebrate. I just got 2 new clients yesterday. Come on. Right? Like if you're afraid of engaging in that conversation, it means that you're not seeing what you do as your mission. If you knew that your product, that your service made somebody else's life better, how would you show up on a sales call? Are y'all following me? If you understood that I am able to see transformation in another person because of what I'm about to offer to them, how would you show up in a sales call? Sales is not about the money, guys. Sales is about transfer of value. Someone put transfer of value in the chat. There are people who are literally on their knees crying for a solution, and you have that solution and you're going, I don't want them to think that I'm being pushy. And they're thinking, do they have what I need? I need this. Who else do I need to find? Y'all getting me? Let's keep going. Okay, so the second thing that you need to do is sales. Can I give y'all one more gem when it comes to this level of your business in sales? So many people who are just getting started, you have too many offers. You have too many different things that you're doing. And because you're offering so many different things, it's confusing your buyer. And a confused buyer will not purchase, period. Y'all hearing me? So you need to hone in. This was one of the top hacks that I learned from a mentor when I was really struggling. She met with me once a quarter. And every time she met with me, she would ask me the same questions. After all the niceties, we're having coffee. And she would be like, Toyin, what's your focus right now? And I would tell her all the things I was doing. And the first time we ever met, I told her all the things I was doing. And she's like, Toyin, you're doing too much. You need to bring that list down. So by the next time we meet, I want to see a shorter list. I said, okay, no problem. I'm coachable. She was where I wanted to be. So the next time we met, Tina, I just noticed that we are like literally wearing the same color. Let's go. Okay, like, come on. And you cut your hair. Oh my gosh. Okay, we will get into that after. So she says to me, Toyin, you need to focus. I meet her a quarter later, okay? A few months later, she asked me the same question after all of our chat. What are you focused on right now? I tell her I'm doing this, I'm doing this. So back then I was doing speaking. I was running a decluttering business. I was doing financial coaching. I was doing ministry work. And I was also doing helping people with their car insurance. I was doing all these different things, okay? She meets me again and she goes, Toyin, what are you doing? And I tell her, oh, I cut off this one thing. She goes, Toyin, you're doing way too much. You're doing way too much. Okay, great. Next time we meet, guys, it took me a year to understand what this woman was trying to tell me. So we finished our mentorship sessions, and I finally whittled down to one thing that people know me for. And what is my one thing? Someone put it in the chat. We have a best-selling book about it. If you Google it, we got the trademark on it. We got the shirts about it. We got the cups about it. Thank you guys. You've put it in the chat. Money mindset. Money mindset. I was the money mindset woman before anybody else was talking about money mindset. The money mindset original. Before it was popular, before everybody is going, let's hum, let's ha, let's do this, let's do that. Why am I saying this? Because when I finally locked in on one thing, that's when the door started to open up. That's when people start running in going, I need what you have. And many of you guys, you haven't yet established, someone said she's the mindset queen. Let's go, y'all. Okay. You haven't yet established yourself in the one thing, and you are doing so many things. So people don't know where to place you. So you've like framed yourself like a convenience store. Have you guys ever been to like a high-end luxury store? Let's talk Rolex. Let's talk Gucci. Let's talk Chanel. When you go into Gucci, Chanel, Rolex, think about that. Come on now. She goes, I'm known for traumedy no more mindset. Let's go, Tina. Okay? Think about when you walk into Gucci or Chanel or Louis Vuitton or whatever it is. I said Vuitton. I don't know how you people pronounce it, okay? Just follow me, you understand. Versus when you go to a convenience store, sure, you can get everything in the world, but you ain't gonna pay some prices. I remember seeing on Tiffany, y'all know, is it Tiffany? The teal company with the jewelry. Thank you. I remember seeing on Tiffany's website, it's just Tiffany like that. There's no like the Tiffany, or it's just Tiffany. Okay. You see what you can do. I knew there had to be something. Thank you. Tiffany & Co. I'm like, that sounds like it's just a girl, but I know they ain't just a girl. Okay. So if you go to Tiffany & Co.'s website, do you guys know that Tiffany & Co. sells paper clips? Did you guys know that? So the convenience store sells paper clips. Tiffany & Co. sells paper clips. Do you know how much the convenience store's paper clip is? Maybe $2, maybe $2.5, $2.50. Do you know how much a paper clip at Tiffany.co is? Someone put 1,000 in the chat, 1,500. It's on their website. You know what's interesting about that paper clip, y'all? It doesn't even have a logo because it's a paper clip. It's too tiny. You can't even, you can use the paper clip, but you can't even let people know I paid $1,000 for this golden paper clip. But they will put that money in because they know they paid $1,000 for that paper clip. Why? Because of the name, Tiffany & Co. So many of us, we're framing ourselves like the convenience store, but we want to get paid like Tiffany & Co. I'm coming for you. Yes, I know. I'm coming for you today. Let's talk real. So when you're just getting started, you can branch out. You can branch out. You know, today we do multiple millions. Today, I have multiple branches. We have business coaching. We scale businesses to millions of dollars. We still have Money Mindset Shift. We have Self-Mastery Academy. It's personal development. I have different offers, but I brought those different offers after I was established in my one thing. Are y'all following me? Get established in your one thing. All right, let's keep it moving. That was level 2. Can someone tell me in the chat what was level 1 if you want to elevate your business? Because we are at the Elevate Your Business Summit. What is level 1? Let's go. Marketing. Level 1 was get people knocking at your door. What is level 2? Level 2, client conversion. Getting sales into your business. And we did a real detour into getting established in your one thing. Now let's talk level 3. Are you guys ready for level 3? If you want to elevate your business, then you need systems and automations. I'm going to say it again. Systems and automations. You need systems and automations. Why? You know, I remember someone messaged me one day and they were mad at me. They were angry. I got an angry email. And this email was this person upset because they had just noticed that we sent automated emails. So it was just like, it's not like, it was just like encouragement emails, but it's automated or whatever. And it was a friend, and they called me and they were like, hey, Toyin, like, I don't appreciate that the email you sent was like to everybody. Like it was automated. I thought it was like you were talking directly to me. I thought you were sending me this email. And I remember just saying to them, like, you want to run a business yourself. Do you know how long it would take me? I have 50,000 people on my email list. 50,000 emails. Because they were like, you need to be more personal. You need to type your emails to each person. I type my emails. I create my emails. But no, she said, you need to be sending it to me so I know it's from you. I said, sis, how long do you think it would take me to send an email to 50,000 people one by one? And why are you limiting yourself by thinking this way, as opposed to going and saying, if Toyin is running $1 million business, a multi-million-dollar business, by sending out emails without having to type them up every single time. Some of y'all, you get a new client, you just added work to your shoulders. You have no systems. So every single thing you do with your clients are manual. You go type, copy, paste, put it again. I'm like, come on, people. Set something up. Let the machines. Why are we in 2024 and you're talking, typing, moving like we're in 18? She said, I can't take no more, Toyin. You know, we're 2024 and you're running your business like we're in 1892. Like we don't have certain tools that we got. Guys, if you come, let me just say this right now. If you come to my events in October, if you are in the room at my event in October, I am actually going to be giving. You will get an opportunity not just to hear me train on automations, but to get an opportunity to take my automations and just change it to match yours so that people can email you angry when you're doing your millions and be like, why are you using an automation? You should be, and you tell them, no problem. Thank you so much. I'm getting paid though. Y'all get me? All right. That's number 3. Is you need to make sure it's millionsretreat.ca. I just realized, let me just put the link out there since people are like, okay, where's the link? Okay. Millionsretreat.ca. But at that event, that's the first time ever in my business, in 8 years of business, that I am going to allow people to actually be able to access my actual businesses, actual automations, and you plug it in and you just put your stuff there. So when we've been working on this for a long time, so I'm excited about that. But let's come back to the subject at hand. You need systems. You need automation. Can I give you guys one more hack about systems and automation? I know it's been some time, so I want to wrap up, okay? Last hack about systems and automations is, guys, many of you, you do a task and you do it again and you do it again. And you do it again, and you just keep doing it over and over and over again. And then the day that you are too busy because clients are coming in and you're winning and you can't do that task anymore, you hire somebody and you go, hey, can you help me do this thing? And then that person comes in, and guess what they have to do, guys? They have to learn the whole thing from scratch. They're like, where do I click? What do I do? How do I do that? Why? Because way too many business owners don't document their systems. They don't document them. They just assume people will just know. Oh, I just keep it in my head. Oh, I just know that it's supposed to happen that way. It is so easy to document your systems, guys. Literally, whatever you're doing, even if you don't have a staff team yet, because you can't scale to 1 million without a staff team. But even if you don't have one yet, you are able to start recording your systems. So when you do have one, you have a library that you can give them and say, that's how you do what you got to get done. Are y'all following me? Is this business? This is business. One of the things I learned while I was scaling my business, they said people will come and go in business. The only thing that stays in the business are the systems you create. I'm going to say that again. People come, people go. The only thing that remains are the systems you put in place. Okay, last thing that you need in order to elevate your business. If anyone's getting value, I want you to type in the comments, value. Do we teach people systems in our program? We absolutely do. We got a program for that. Come on, people are putting value in the chat, okay? Last thing that I want to talk to y'all about is, so we talked about, what was number 1? Pop quiz, pop quiz. I know it. I said it. But what was number 1? Marketing. What was number 2? Client conversion, sales. What was number 3? Systems and automation. Systems and automation. Start seeing that said Destiny showing off. Y'all watching the video. Destiny literally just put the list in the chat. She's like, I am taking notes. Okay. I am taking notes. All right. Number 4, and this is the last one so that y'all can ask me a few questions, is you need a team. You need a team, but you don't just need any team. You need to hire the right position at the right times. And many business owners either hire too quick or hire too late. Woo! I love, okay, please bring that question when we go to questions. I love that question right there. Many people hire too early or too late. This was one of the first mistakes I made in my business, was hiring. Can I be real with you guys? I remember one of the first areas that I hired in, the one of the best decisions I made was hiring an administrator to help me administrate the business. That was a game changer positively. But as soon as I got that, the business is growing, my time is getting maxed out. And I said, you know what I need? I need to hire a sales team. And many business owners do this right out the gate. They don't like sales. I actually enjoy having sales conversations because I love getting to know people and see if we can help them. So it wasn't for me because I didn't want to do them. It was because we actually had so many clients coming in that I didn't have the time to do them. So I remember back then hiring my first salesperson. This was a big lesson, big lesson. I learned it again January of 2023. Where I brought this person in, and now if someone is a salesperson, guess what? They don't just sell on your behalf. They also sell to you. They're convincing. So I remember the person came in and they started doing sales calls and they weren't getting sales. And they had this conversation with me and they were like, Toyin, the reason I'm not getting sales is because your ads suck. The people that you have coming in from the ads, they're not a fit. They're not the right people. You're bringing in people who are struggling financially. Hi, go figure. We coach people on shifting their finances. But that didn't hit me back then. I was just listening to this guy, right? And it was very convincing. He goes, you're bringing people who are struggling financially. Your ads are not working the way that they need to. That's why I'm not selling, because I was selling before him. And I believed him because I didn't understand the principle of how to hire and how to lead a team. So guess what happened? I actually started to change my business to suit what this man said. So I went into my ads and I literally remember telling Facebook, you've been bringing me people who need like another level financially, but I need people who are doing well and like they're thriving. So do you know what I said to Facebook? I was like, give me people who got yachts. That's where I went, guys. I went from like, are you doing okay and you want to do better, to like, Facebook, I need the yacht people, because it's the yacht people that I want to work with, because then the sales is going to be so easy. So I added like yachts. I added like some super high, I'm not a pop culture person, but you know, high posh, what's that car that starts with a B? A Bentley, Lamborghini. I add all these qualifications to my ad for the people that are going to see my ad. Can I tell you guys what happened? Ooh, I love that. What happened? Nobody started clicking on my ads. Why? Because when you go to the ultra rich and you're telling them, hey, I'm going to help you make more money, they go, that's not the problem I have right now. So our leads got cut to nothing. And I remember just finally waking up and being like, why did I do that? So I removed that ad. I put my normal ad because our job is helping people they're working full time, but they're normal people and making them into people who are earning those millions of dollars. So what do? I stop the ad. I turn on my new ads. I get back on my own sales calls and our clients keep coming in again. And that was one of my first lessons on hiring, because sometimes we hire, but we lose our confidence and we don't believe or trust our gut and our experience. And because you hired that person and you gave that person money, you think that they know everything and they have all the answers, when in reality, you still know and understand your industry because you were there before they were. Does this make sense, y'all? Oh, here's another question. I'm loving the questions. Let's go to question and answer. Now, just putting it in the chat. If any of you guys, okay, this is my offer to you, is if any of you guys wants a free consultation with moi, a whole me, okay? If you want a free consultation, then you can click on the link in the chat, moneymindsetShift.ca/free class stars Tina. I put it stars with a Z, stars Tina. Okay, moneymindsetShift.ca. I'm saying it verbally for the people on YouTube. MoneymindsetShift.ca/free class stars Tina. So that's 3 S's back to back. Okay. And if you meet with me this week and decide to work with my team, I love Tina. Tina has added value to my life. Tina was the one who actually introduced me to Breakfast with Champions, where I was able to speak now twice because of Tina. So my gift back to Tina is a gift to you guys. Any of you guys who decide to get started with my company in this week, you just got to let me know I'm with Tina. If you let me know I'm with Tina, you're going to get a $250 discount just for getting started with us and coming from Tina. Come on now. Come on now. Tina said, you want one of these. It is a game changer. When I had mine, it changed my life. Maya said in the chat, caution, you can try to dissect this on your own and implement all these steps, do it yourself. But just remember, money is replaceable. Time is the #1 commodity you cannot replace. Invest in yourself. Get in the room with Toyin. She said, I promise I am not getting paid. I am convinced and convicted. I am one of her 1,000 fans for life that Bruce talked about. Come on, Maya. Come on, let's go. Mubo said, I want in, even though I'm in her millionaire mastermind. Come on, guys. Thank you guys so much. So here's what I want to do. I want to give room to our host, the one, the only, the woman of the hour, wearing the same, you know what I mean? The same colors, stars Tina. And I want to do a couple of questions and answers. So if anyone's got a question, bring it.
Girl, well, that was a fire. That was fire. You saw my questions in the chat, for those meetings when they were starting. I tried ads once and I stopped because I was like, I don't know. When you first started, did you have someone guiding you with ads? What was your budget? Tell us a little bit about that. Just a little, not too much.
Absolutely. So when I first started, and then you also asked me what was the budget. So when I first started, what I had done was I mastered marketing offline before I put my money behind it. Right? Like if you aren't,
that mean you were making money from it? What's mastered mean?
Mastered marketing. Exactly. Precisely. So I had mastered what language. So this is what I would say to someone who's just starting and saying, should I put my money into paid ads? You need to make sure that what you're going to put there actually converts. Because once your money is behind it, if it doesn't convert, now you're going backwards, not forward. You're not even neutral anymore. So what you need to be doing is putting that language out organically. and you're putting language out organically, and you start to notice the stuff that resonates. You start to notice the post that gets a lot of conversation. You start to notice the post that gets a lot of DMs. I don't look for conversation. Guys, let me tell you, can I give you guys a secret about this? People think that likes and comments is what tells you whether a post converts. A lot of my posts, I'm going viral right now, right? But I've coached people on social for years. I've never gone viral until right now. Before right now, most of my posts, people don't say nothing publicly. People don't like it. People don't comment. People don't share. But I didn't care. I kept posting. Why? Because they would slide in my DMs. They say, hey, Toyin, I saw what you put. Yeah, I do. Can we talk? Yeah, da. So Instagram this year alone, because this is free. This is free for everybody. Instagram is free, at least for now, because we know they're starting to add those plans and whatever. But it's free. This year, I had never used this. Like, I really didn't care about Instagram. I've had like 2,000 followers for like 4 years. I didn't care. But I decided I want to make money through using Instagram this year. And I start doing the same thing. Every platform I decide I want to master it, this is what I do first, is I start posting to see what resonates. Once I see what resonates, I start leaning into it. And what I noticed on Instagram was that I would be posting, and like I said, nobody's saying nothing. So someone could look at it and be like, oh, there's no activity here. But we had made over 6 figures by 4 months of me just from Instagram. And we know because we track stuff. We have trackers on everything.
Wait a minute, girlfriend. Pause. I gotta pause you like I paused Steven. Instagram, you talking about like where I'm like liking and watching videos till like 1 o'clock in the morning. Are you talking about that app? Because is that a master class you have? Do you have like a course on how to make money off of
just on Instagram? I actually do. And it's actually like one of the least expensive courses we have. Let me get it for you guys, and I'm gonna put it in the chat.
Like this at night. And sometimes Instagram is like my boyfriend. It puts me to sleep. I'm just watching videos, going over. I'll take someone's audio and make a video. And hey, let me get this dance move going.
That same app. That same exact app. Y'all be on there talking, looking. Me too, I'm there. I'm chilling, I'm talking, I'm sharing, I'm liking, I'm laughing. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm one of those people. I am the friend that sucks at reels. So like once a week, I have homework. And my homework is I have 4 sisters in a group, and they send funny reels all week long. And then I have a husband that sends me like 15 funny reels a day, and I don't see nothing because I'm working, I'm with the children, and so once a week I have to sit down for an hour and I just laugh on Instagram. Okay, so but to your question, yes, we actually do. You know why I did this class? It's $300. The link is there, moneymindsetShift.ca/social, right? But I did this class because I saw so many people on Instagram posting. Like, you're not even lazy. You're even posting, but they're posting and their profile isn't set up to make money. So I'm seeing people who are actually going viral. So nobody knew me. They did, but they just didn't act like it. Now I'm going viral. So I'm like, hey, I'll take that too, right? But I was watching people going viral. And they're not making money. And me, nobody was even looking there, but I've made 6 figures. I said, no, I have to do a class. So we did a whole course, literally, and I made it $300, inexpensive, one-time payment, just so you know how to shift your profile, how to set up your automations, how to post the reel, how to add SEO tags inside the video, so that even though you didn't put you know, there's a limit on hashtags, right? You can only put 30 hashtags or whatever. You can put
I heard they stopped that, but I guess listening.
Oh no, it's still there. There's still a limit. But they are still leaning into hashtags. So there's this 30 limit on hashtags, but what people don't know is that you can put SEO words. I have 60 words inside any reel. You
keywords for their business. Do you teach that as well in there?
Yes, in the training, I talk about where to get what your words are and how to put it in the video so nobody sees it, But guess what? When people search those words, your videos start coming up. Y'all, we don't play out here. So to your question, your original question was about paid ads. So the answer is you need to know what converts and then put money behind it. So I made money from day one of spending money on ads. My first set of ads was me selling I was helping people save money on car insurance. I wasn't with a brokerage. It was just my side hustle, but it was the only thing I did. So it was a side hustle, main hustle. Y'all get what I mean? And I remember the ad literally said, save money on your car insurance. I forget what the language was, but it was the language I knew was working when I posted it organically. And then I put like a couple of sliders of testimonials from clients that had thanked me, just their text message saying, oh my gosh, we just say I put that there. My landing page was not pretty. It was simply, give me your name, your number, your email. I'll call you and we'll do a 15-minute free consultation. And if I can help you, I'll tell you how I do that. And then I had the same testimonials. Like, guys, that's why I tell people, some people make this so complex when it doesn't have to be. Like, if you tell your people what they are looking for, they will know, they will give you their contact details. Then you do the work of conversion, which is on the other side. People try to sell in the ad, and that's the mistake that they start to make, is when you're selling in an ad versus pulling the person in the ad just to get their contact details, and then you actually sell after you've got the contact details. Does that make sense? Does that help? And my budget back then, I didn't have a lot of money, so I probably started at $5 a day. Like, I wasn't spending that much on it, but I would make, so for $5 a day, 5 times 30, that's about $150 a month. And I would make back
all money from that little bit of input.
Yes. So people would start giving me their info. I would start getting these save you on car insurance. I don't do that no more, guys. That's a long time ago. So please do not come into my DMs about, I want to save some money. We have a course for that too. Okay. It's in our Money Mindset Shift course. I don't talk about that no more. But for each, like, let's say it's $150 I put in, I was doing a couple $1,000s back just from, like, I would get paid, let's say $300 on this deal, or 100 or 300 or 200 over on that deal.
Wonderful. Any other questions? If so, on Mike. Bruce, are you still there? What did you think of Toyin? Pop in. I would love to hear your comments, thoughts. This is on fire, girl.
Woo!
I cannot wait. Let me check in the chat to see if anyone here has a question. I'm loving your people through here. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what she said. Agree, disagree, Bruce? What are your thoughts?
I think she was amazing. That's a lot to take in. She's really good.
Thank you, Bruce. People say it's like drinking from a fire hose.
That's right. That's right.
Did you hear how someone talked about your 1,000 Screaming fans? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That's right.
I love it.
Thank you again.
Ooh. Okay, let's do. Oh, she put her notes. That's good. That's how you know someone's paying attention.
Going off again. Hey, you wanna get paid to do the ebook, Destiny? Hit me up, girlfriend.
Hey, right. There you go. You did it now.
If you want to write the ebook, come
on down. She's like, I'll broker that deal. I'll broker it. Woo!
Girl, I'm working on this book here, so this is my main focus. So if you want to write this ebook here,
come on.
Toya, thank you so much for coming through. We all have our information there in the YouTube. I'm going to put everything there. I cannot wait for October. You know, I'm like your ambassador. Start giving me this stuff. I'm going to link it out. My commitment, because this is going to be fun. I want to say 10. Think big time. I was going to say 5.
Come on.
And 10 is my goal for the women that I want to bring with me to the event. Commitment.
Come on.
It's going to be so much fun. I cannot.
Come on. And if you guys have not gotten my book, sorry, 1 second, I'm going to grab them for you.
I guess she's going to show us what her books look like. Any of her people want to share anything? I see Maya over there. Maya's having Maya's cooking or something. Oh, she's making a shake. I'm about to make a shake too, girl. I'm hungry. This one over.
All right, here we go. So if any of you guys have not gotten my books, you can get Money Mindset Shift on Amazon. It's a best-selling book. It was released 2019, still hot off the press, still relevant. And then we've got Radical Obedience, which was our bestseller released this year. So feel free to go on to Amazon and grab your copy. All right. Thank you so much, Tina. It was an honor to be here today. Like I said, was value. Thank you.
Yes. Peace. And about the hair grease. Bye, everybody.